Dude, I want you to be as smart as I am.
Motherfucker, give me a...
Dude, I want you to be as smart as I am.
Motherfucker, give me a...
Dude, I want you to be as smart as I am.
Motherfucker, give me a...
Dude, I want you to be as smart as I am.
Motherfucker, give me a specific...
Dude, I want you to be as smart as I am.
Motherfucker...
Come on out, you rapist!
Dude, I want you to be as smart as I am.
Govern like a dictator. And the 6-3 conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court seems eager to let him. In an impassioned dissent to today's ruling on birthright citizenship and nationwide injunctions, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson warned of what lies ahead for our democracy now that her conservative colleagues have curtailed one of the only means of reining in potentially illegal actions from this or really any administration. Quote, "Disaster looms. What I mean by this is that our rights-based legal system can only function properly if the executive and everyone else is always bound by law. Today's decision is a seismic shock to that foundational norm, allowing the executive to violate the law at its prerogative with respect to anyone who has not yet sued, carves out a huge exception, a gash in the basic tenets of our founding charter that could turn out to be a mortal wound. What is more, to me, requiring courts themselves to provide the dagger makes a mockery of the judiciary's solemn duty to safeguard the rule of law." Senator Chris Van Hollen is a Democrat of Maryland, and he joins me now to discuss all of this. Senator, thanks so much for joining me. Today, you decried...
Good to be with you.
Great to see you. Today, you decried the court ceding power to what you call a lawless authoritarian president. What do you think the long-term practical implications of this ruling are or could be?
Well, I agree with Justice Jackson and with the dissent in this case, which is that it is a big blow to our ability to enforce our rights because our rights, our constitutional rights, our other legal rights are, of course, only as good as our ability to enforce them. And what this decision does is it throws up lots of additional roadblocks and obstacles to the remedy, right? Because when your constitutional rights are violated, this is going to make it much harder for individuals other than those who go to court and are themselves plaintiffs to have their rights adjudicated and restored. And so I do think this is a big blow. And it's another example of this Supreme Court that's been largely stacked by Donald Trump appointees, ceding their constitutional responsibilities and duties to the executive, when under Article 3, they're the ones that should be standing up and making sure that we can enforce our rights.
Well, not only ceding their power to rein in the executive, but the power of other courts to potentially stop the executive from taking illegal actions.
Absolutely. I mean the power of the judiciary. I mean the power of Article 3 courts. What the Supreme Court is done, and again, stacked largely by these Trump appointees, is ceding their power under the Constitution, in fact, their responsibility as a judicial branch, they're ceding that to Donald Trump, who is a lawless president. So when you have a combination of a lawless president like Donald Trump, and then you have a Supreme Court that wants to essentially get rid of the remedies that we have when it comes to enforcing our rights, this is a very dangerous moment. So I agree with Judge Jackson and her strong language.
Senator, while Donald Trump faces more nationwide injunctions than any other president, he is correct about that. That's because he issues more unlawful orders than any other president. These injunctions are not unique to Republicans. Joe Biden, his predecessor, had a number of his priorities stymied by similar nationwide injunctions. So this cuts both ways, no?
It does. You're exactly right. And there were, judges who enjoined some of President Biden's actions, his executive orders, where I disagreed with them. And of course, the idea then is they're adjudicated through the court system, from the district court level to the appellate court level, and ultimately to the Supreme Court level. But when you have a system that doesn't allow the most obvious violations of constitutional legal rights to be remedied on a nationwide basis when they're violated, then you expose people for very long periods of time to being stripped of their constitutional or other legal rights. And so that's why I think this was a blow to protecting our rights. And we now have two branches of government. We have the Article III courts in the form of the Supreme Court anyway, and now the Congress, where you have majority Republicans who are ceding their power also to a president who wants to be king. I mean, just today, Republicans, all but one, voted against the War Powers Resolution. The War Powers Resolution was a very simple idea founded in the Constitution that says you can't go to war without congressional authorization. And yet all but one Republican senator abdicated their responsibility and essentially said, we're going to give that power to Donald Trump alone. So this is a very dangerous moment for our democracy and protection of our rights.
It's funny. I've heard over the years calls to abolish ICE, but I also wonder if we should just abolish Congress if your colleagues are not going to do their jobs. I've not called to abolish ICE. I've called to rein in the excesses we see from ICE. Fair enough. I've taken us off track. I do want to ask your thoughts on where the so-called big beautiful bill stands at this point. Speaking of Congress acting or not acting, the negotiations seem to be ongoing. It seems like the ability to bring the Republican Party together has gotten harder since some of the provisions in the bill have been stricken for not complying with these, esoteric rules to get a bill passed through party line vote. But Donald Trump says he wants this bill to be passed within the next week, by July 4th. How realistic do you think that is at this point?
Well, I hope that we're able to stop it. And of course, back in 2017, when Donald Trump and a majority Republican Congress tried to undo the Affordable Care Act, we ultimately stopped them with that one vote in the United States Senate. I hope we can stop them again this time in the United States Senate. They do seem right now, Catherine, hell-bent on stripping away people's health care protections, especially very deep cuts in Medicaid, in order to partially finance these tax cuts for billionaires and the very wealthy. That framework is something that they continue to adhere to. Now, you're absolutely right. It's gotten complicated with individual provisions. And the Senate parliamentarian has said that they're trying to pass things in this bill that they're not allowed to pass in this particular form and this procedure. But look, I ask all the people who are listening to this program and others around the country, Americans, regardless of your party, please mobilize and call Republican senators and House members. This is the moment to stop this bill, which will do great harm and great damage to tens of millions of our fellow Americans. And again, all for the purpose of partially financing a tax cut for very wealthy people. And by the way, even after that, it will add $4.2 trillion to our deficit, which we will all pay for in one form or another.
Senator Chris Van Hollen, thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it right there. Welcome to a pop-up Stanley versus the world. Welcome, Kelvin. Welcome, some dude. Dude, are you a dude? So, I was going to do a boring history show today and then got busy doing other things. And I am liable to be preempted by John or Portia. So, uh, we'll hang out for a little bit. We'll see how long it goes. I am not wedded to doing a long show unless it gets fun. So, I've dropped the links. It's more or less an open panel. And I got one more. Uh, well, this is going to be my background. I kind of wish I was on the water today, but I am not. Yay, boring history show. Uh, yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But I want to hear what this young lady has to say. Um, Someone I've probably never, you know, um, talked to or shown on this show, but this is an interesting concept and maybe something folks should know.
Thank you for subscribing. And if you happen to find me just from scrolling around or somebody recommended you check out my YouTube channel, thank you. And I hope you'll subscribe if you like what we do here. So, the corrupt Supreme Court has all but ended birthright citizenship. This is what Trump wants. And it's not to get rid of birthright citizenship for white people. It is for Black and brown people. And he doesn't want brown people here. We know this. This is the Stephen Miller wet dream for all intents and purposes. And it is so hypocritical because they will be very selective about this. You know, in 1929, a woman by the name of Mary McLeod illegally immigrated to the United States. She gave birth to Donald Trump. So he should be out of here,
And
right?
folks, I'll be
His mother
right back.
was here illegally. Let's see, his kids. Let's see, his father was the son of German immigrants. He was born rich, born here, so they're fine. They're fine. If you're rich and white, it's fine. And let's see, Donald Trump's first wife, the one buried in the golf course to give him tax breaks, the ex-wife, Ivana, who got stair cancer right before her NDA was to expire and she could blow the whistle on Trump for a lot of things. And she fell down the stairs supposedly in her townhome, but didn't spill her coffee on the way down. Kind of odd. And she had an elevator. I guess she just didn't feel like using it. So anyway, yeah, I digress. Ivana gave birth to 3 children, but she was an immigrant. And I don't believe she was here illegally. Look at Melania. Remember how he was going to be having the press conference to address all of the questions and scandals swirling around Melania's so-called immigration status, her Einstein visa for doing like full frontal nudity and porn, softcore lesbian porn. She was never a supermodel. And it appears she was here illegally too, which means that she and Barron got to go. Got to deport them. And since we don't have to deport them to their country of origin, we can send them to El Salvador. That means Don Jr., Ivana, and Eric are all here illegally now. We can get rid of them under the new Trump rules, under the Supreme Court. Trump, he was born to an illegal birthright citizenship. Get rid of him. Now, you can't have these conversations with MAGA, as you know. They'll just laugh and laugh and laugh. And I'm going to remind us all, I think it's important to remind each other as well, that the MAGA understand now. This isn't 2016. We are now in 2025. MAGA, your MAGA friends and family, they know what Trump is for the most part. They don't care. So again, we need these reminders that until it affects them, they are happy and even giddy at seeing the cruelty inflicted upon others. They like it. They love it. Unless it affects their business or someone in their community or someone they love or care about. And then they're like, well, no, he said he was just going after criminals. Oh, okay. Why would you trust this guy? He's got 34 felonies. He's a rapist. He's a traitor, longtime Russian asset. I mean, you know this about him. He's a liar, a cheat, a con. But the MAGA like that. That makes them feel tough because he's made them feel like they're on his team. We're all in this together. We're all in on the con. And as long as they think they're in on the con, they're fine with it. Meanwhile, he's laughing at them. They're not in on the con. They're also the mark. They just don't know it yet. They just don't know it yet. So, do they think that if there's somebody in their family or extended family that now falls into that category of birthright citizenship, which the Supremes have now all but ended as a favor to Trump, do these MAGA idiots really think that they'll somehow be exempt? Only if you give them lots of money. And most of the people who are MAGA who think they're the rich people in their community, they're not in the same category. They're not anywhere near, they're not within miles of the same zip code of the real money people who have this influence on Trump. It's always this case of, as long as they feel a little bit better than everybody else, they don't care if what Trump is doing is moral, legal, constitutional. They like that he's doing it. And they like that they feel like they're on his team. Like I said, like, look how powerful we are. We're the better people. We're the white people. We're the MAGA people in this country. And they really think that none of this is going to affect them. But we see story after story after story. When it does reach them, they're so surprised. And now they're no longer a Trump supporter. I don't have any sympathy for these people. When it was happening to somebody else, you were just fine with it. When it's happening to you, oh no, right? It started with Latinos who voted for Trump. They actually were conned into voting for Trump. They thought, well, for deportations, he's only going to go after the criminals and the gang members. And then when he went after people who were not criminals and gang members, it's their family and it's them, they're heartbroken, they're shocked, they feel betrayed. These ICE agents, first of all, they're not really ICE agents. Most of them, they're just bounty hunters. And a little sidebar here, I love that in some states, some cities, the local police are not allowing them, are arresting them and chasing them off. These masked, anonymous, so-called ICE agents charging in to terrorize people and drag them off to God knows where. People are fighting back. It takes us a while because this is all new to America. You know, we have to get our sea legs on this new reality, but it's happening. As we've noted, anybody can just go on Amazon and order one of these little costumes or put a black scarf over their face and go just grab people off the street. And we're supposed to believe that, well, these are special agents of Donald Trump. Well, no, they're not. They're not. And maybe that one of these days it's going to happen to somebody in Trump's family when they're not protected because, you know, birthright citizenship, we don't have that anymore. And he and his entire family. Oh, except for Tiffany. Tiffany's mother, Donald's second wife, he was cheating with on his first wife while he was still married to Ivana. So she's, you know, she's okay. And that means Tiffany is okay. And Tiffany's new baby is okay. But the others, nope. What if it was a situation where a Democrat were to somehow, if we ever have elections again, a Democrat gets in office and decides to give Trump a taste of his own medicine and masked ICE agents go and grab his children and his wife, stuff them in a car, take them off somewhere. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, this is what we're talking about. Obviously, that will never happen. But I do want to underscore the point that MAGA, and you know this if you still have MAGA in your life, they would never think that this could happen to them. But it could. But it could. And some of these people that you know, they only care about Trump having people hauled away, removed, just disappearing them by these masked thugs, his own personal terrorism team. They don't care about it until, oh, it's my employees, and now I can't, get the crops from my field, or I can't find workers. Then it's a problem. Not because they care about other human beings, but it's still about them. This is something that you can almost draw a line down the room, and the people who care about this stuff versus the people who don't. And eventually, if it happens to you, then you care about it. But the people who are still MAGA in 2025, they really don't care. Tells you a lot about people. Now, I found that out, when I first went up against Trump, like 10 years ago. And I had been a Republican operative, and I saw that my Republican establishment friends were with me until Trump became the nominee. And then they were like, well, we got to get in line, and you should too. I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm being told Trump has guys in Queens that might be on their way over to get me. I'm being catfished. He's getting me kicked off TV because I told truths about him. He has me threatened. He defamed me. He had someone follow me. He hired somebody at one of his favorite firms who was doing this transition. It was bad. It was real bad. He had me blacklisted. This is what he does. And if you only care about it when it happens to you, think about what kind of a person you are. And think about what kind of a country this is now. If more people are like that, they only care about what he's doing. They only care about his crimes, his brutality, his lies, his con, when it affects them. I am so sick of this attitude. It's really prevalent in white men in America too. I got to tell you that, well, as long as it works out for me, it's going to help my taxes. It's going, that's all they care about. And the rest of it, they actually prefer not to hear about. I've heard this from people. They don't want to watch the news. They don't want to know what's going on.
Snake when I need him.
They say, we're so sick of it. Well, yeah, we all are. Walk a mile in my shoes, people. Because then they have to be accountable. They have to be accountable. As we've noted, we are in a situation now where we are the cavalry. And when you say, well, I'm just one person, I'm helpless, I can't do anything. We're at the point now where it's almost like hand-to-hand street combat, in that if the only thing you can do is influence the people around you, and if they have consequences for continuing down this MAGA path, maybe they lose friends, maybe they lose business, they get ostracized a little bit. That will be how we win. Because think about this. What if everybody did that? What if everybody did that? The people in their own towns and communities that think it doesn't matter, but collectively it does. Collectively it does. Anyway, it's a tall order, but we are, I think, at that place. And I've been thinking about, I was looking at history of the Holocaust in Germany, and we were saying before, it's 1934. Well, now what year is it? When you can, I forget the name, and I wish I had it in front of me, but it's just now coming to me. There's a Holocaust historian who says, when people say, we are, almost at the point where we're starting to look like Germany, 1930, whatever. And this historian says, no, that's not true. We are already there. We are already there. We are so far down this path of authoritarianism. It's not like, oh, we're almost authoritarian. We are there. It is worse than you think. This has happened quickly. And a lot of people are just in denial. Not that they don't know. And as I said, this is new to Americans, so it takes us a while to get our sea legs. But I think a lot of people are just in denial. They're just in denial. Think of it this way. If there's a weather event, a flood, and you wait for them to come help you, to save you, to clear the water out from your area, okay, what if nobody's coming to help and you're on your own? And the only thing you can do is take your bucket and keep emptying out your leaky boat or whatever it is you're in. That's where we are now. That's where we are now. We're so much on our own that it is the only way we win is on that one-on-one individual basis. Because the rules don't apply to everybody. We just saw the Supreme Court basically end birthright citizenship. And as I pointed out to you in the beginning of this video, that means that 4 of Donald Trump's kids, his late ex-wife, his current wife, and him, they'd have to go. Deport them, and not even to their country of origin. Just send them off to El Salvador, to a prison, or deport them anywhere that you feel like. But we know that won't happen. So that is important to remind yourself of. The rules do not apply to criminals like Trump. And that means that you don't have any safety or security in your own
Nate.
communities.
How you doing?
And so you have to be responsible for yourselves and your neighbors and those that you care about, and be mindful of those around you who want to hurt these other people, who support this. Maybe they aren't the ones putting the black masks on, but they sure are cheering it along. And you know who they are.
Well, salute Innate. Salute Untrackable. Good to see you. Yep. Now we could watch. This could be a horrible a horrible history video, but we might get to that, but probably not. So I'm going to do one more MSNBC video. This is Melissa Murray and George Conway. But in the end, let's see. You know what? I am doing well. I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, but I'm in the last stages of it. It's going to be chicken summer squash and English style potatoes, which are an interesting thing. You know, the English actually do potatoes well, at least the recipes. So here's the bottom line, folks. Make sure that you hit the like buttons, one on my channel, one on John Galt's. Please subscribe to the John Galt Urban Landlord channel and Urban Landlord Clips. John Galt is the star. I just kind of, do a Contra show every now and again. So I have dropped the links. It's more or less an open panel. So don't be shy, folks. Don't be shy. And by the way, before we play this video, I am on, I'm going to have to switch back to Fios because this is looking slow. I've been testing out a 5G router for, well, shit, it's almost a year now. And it is not the best for streaming shows and all the stuff that I do. So give me one sec. It should be seamless. We shall see. Oh, there we go. I'm back. So anyway, I'm going to play this. I am not wedded to being on all night. Hit the link. Let me drop the link just to make sure that there are no excuses. Lead Clinton. Hit the link, sir. This is a pop-up show. I am always kind of I have on my my anti-MAGA hat. So there we go. Hit the link. Don't be shy. And we will listen to Melissa Murray.
Law School. George Conway is a conservative attorney and the president of the Society for the Rule of Law. They join me now. Thanks to both of you. Melissa, I want to start with you. You were, I think, on air when this ruling came out, if I recall correctly. What was your reaction to that and when you heard the news? And what?
By the way, Melissa Murray's a law school professor. This black woman with the with the bowl haircut, law professor, New York University. Very smart woman. And George Conway, another lawyer, and a Republican, but he's kind of a never Trumper. So, these aren't far right people. So,
What do you think this
listen
means
to
in
'em.
general for the civil rights of Americans in this country?
So it wasn't an unexpected ruling. It was very clear from oral arguments back in May that there was certainly some antipathy, if not downright hostility, toward the possibility of nationwide injunctions, that there was some
I like the
significant cadre
haircut.
of the court that were ready to rein this in. And
And,
so I want to
and
be
Nate,
clear about what
thank
this
you so
decision
much.
does and what it
You
doesn't
are
do. It does not
always
take up the
defend
substantive question
this
of whether Section 1
salute
of the
to you.
14th Amendment confers
Brian
birthright
Nichols,
citizenship. So
good to see
that
you.
was actually never on the
Eh,
table. The Trump administration
He's
chose not to
left
present that
goofy.
that question to the court.
I'm
And
one
that
of
by
them
itself
left
is
goofies.
significant because it understood this case to be purely a vehicle for narrowing the injunctive power of lower federal courts to stop this administration when it does lawless and unconstitutional actions. And the court essentially delivered that today. They narrowed the available remedies that district courts can use when they are faced with the lawless actions of this court. It said here that in this particular case and in others like it, if there is a litigant and that litigant's relief can be afforded simply by giving that one litigant relief, you don't necessarily need to have a broader nationwide solution. So it didn't foreclose entirely the possibility of nationwide injunctions, but it made it much narrower and much harder for district courts to justify issuing a nationwide injunction. And that's really critical because right now, when we have Congress sitting on the couch somewhere in Washington, D.C., there are precious few checks on this administration, and we have been relying on the lower federal courts using their injunctive powers to stop this administration when it does something that is utterly lawless and utterly unconstitutional, which has happened with increasing frequency.
How do you think other judges on lower courts, which was once the position of these Supreme Court justices, feel about their powers being clipped here?
Well, to be clear, most of the justices on this court were never district court judges. Only two, Justice Sotomayor and Justice Jackson, were ever on the district court. The others were federal appellate judges. And in this particular opinion, there was so much antipathy for the work of district court judges. District court judges, I've clerked for one. They work and labor really hard. They try to do the right thing, and they recognize that they are the front lines. They are closest to the litigants. They often see the litigants in a way that appellate judges like the Supreme Court do not. And the antipathy for district court judges was absolutely striking in this opinion. Justice Kavanaugh, in his concurrence, essentially said, the buck stops with us. We are the ones that get to make these decisions. If there is an imperial judiciary, and that was a point of contention between Justices Barrett and Jackson, at least for Justice Kavanaugh, the most imperial judiciary is these 9 members of the Supreme Court.
George, a lot of commentators today, and in fact, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson in her dissent, are saying that this leaves everyday people to effectively fend for themselves when it comes to government infringements of their rights. How do you see it?
I disagree. I don't think this decision is a big decision, a big significant decision at all for most of the people watching out there. I think it's going to be an interesting decision for students of the federal rules of civil procedure and class action procedure, but I don't think it's going to have much of an impact. And I think the decision is actually correct, much as I agree with everyone that what the administration here is trying to do to the 14th Amendment, Section 1, is pretty much it is a depraved and insane interpretation of the 14th Amendment that only the likes of President Stephen Miller could come up with. I mean, essentially what the court this is the equivalent of going to the DMV or going to the passport office and showing up at the window with your form and being told, no, sorry, you have to fill out a different form. And the form's over there on the table and there are pens on the table and you have to just come back. And what happened here is Justice Barrett is absolutely right. This is not a traditional form of injunction. The way you get an injunction of the sorts that have been issued here is through a class action. And I know that sounds burdensome. It sounds big. And I know I practice class action law as a defense lawyer, and it's very, very difficult to get, to deal with class certification issues in a big case involving antitrust and securities and things where you have to hire experts and so on. This is the most pure form of class action, where basically it's up or down on the interpretation of a few words in the Constitution, which I think can't be interpreted any other way than the way that these judges and the plaintiffs have found it. And so what's going to happen here, the reason why we saw multiple lawsuits brought this afternoon is 10 weeks ago when the Supreme Court decided to hear argument on this stay application, everybody realized which way it was going to go. So they just wrote new pleadings that said, we're going to ask for a class action. And what's going to happen next is the courts are going to say, yeah, okay, we're going to certify class actions. And frankly, there is no basis to oppose the certification of a class action here because it is so simple. It's one issue of law. It's straight up or down. And we're going to have 4 law, maybe not perfectly nationwide injunctions, but 4 very broad injunctions, maybe even nationwide, that are just simply going to be issued in class actions, which eliminates the problem. And so
George,
I think we're just going to
sorry to
end up
interrupt you. Melissa
order.
has been vigorously shaking her head for a while.
Because George, you are wrong.
Okay.
You are wrong. And you are wrong.
Yeah.
First of all, this case, Trump versus Casa, involves not just individual litigants, but also states as litigants. And you know, as a lawyer, that the federal rules of civil procedure do not permit states and organizations like Casa to present themselves as candidates for class actions. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure number 23 only applies to persons. So the idea that anyone could go forward as a class action is absolutely ludicrous, and you know that. This was the only remedy available to lower federal judges to rein in this particular administration. Now we are asking individual litigants to either go to every district court throughout the country to individually file suit or to alternatively launch a broad class action for which many of them don't have the resources. And right now, at a time when this administration has forced law firms to capitulate, further narrowing the availability of legal resources, the fact of a class action is going to be virtually impossible, and you know that. This is a devastating decision for the rule of law. It is a devastating decision for the rule of law. It is a devastating decision for democracy, and it is part and parcel of this court that has, for the last 2 years, facilitated this president in what has been an utterly lawless march through constitutional law.
George, I admire you and I love you, and I agree with a lot of what you say, but you're wrong. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 23B2 basically says this is exactly the kind of case where a class action should be certified.
Not
and yes,
with the state, George. Not with organizations like CASA, George.
But there are individual. Excuse me. Individuals can bring large class actions here, and the states have every right to seek a relief that affects them, which means people who are moving into the state, people are in the state. So we're going to get full relief in very, very short order. And I don't think this case is going to make a big difference in any of these cases where, the government is violating. Yes, it's an up or down issue as to whether or not the government is violating the law. And, everybody's similarly affected. There is a mechanism for doing this. It's Rule 23B2, and that's where we're going to end up. And I think
before we get
in the same place. We'll come back in a matter of weeks and we'll see who's right.
Okay, before we get too in the weeds on some of these particular provisions, I do want to ask what this means in practice for people who are affected by this. So, Melissa, my question to you is effectively, what happens to babies born in states where the birthright citizenship executive order is not being blocked? Like, there are some states where babies are born citizens, and there are some states where babies.
We get 30 days to decide. What this lady just asked, the 30 days before we have to decide.
These are not born citizens. Maybe they're stateless. What happens if you're born in if you're a parent and you have a kid who's born in Texas, let's say?
So there's a 30-day kind of delay before this opinion becomes operative. That gives the administration an opportunity to draft some guidance for how this will all play out in the various jurisdictions, both where it is blocked and where it is not. But we are looking toward what will essentially be a kind of patchwork in the United States. And that shouldn't be unfamiliar. With this administration, we've seen patchworks before. Consider the Dobbs decision from just a few years ago, where we went from having a fundamental right to choose an abortion to having a patchwork where we have some states where it's permitted and other states where it isn't. So it is going to be chaotic. It is going to be uncertain and unsettled. And that kind of chaos is, I think, by design, to make it less likely for individuals to come forward to claim their rights, to make it less likely for individuals to come to the United States, and to make it more likely that people will be unwilling to live with this kind of uncertainty and will self-deport or otherwise take themselves out of this situation.
The babies are going to self-deport?
Well, I guess according to George, the babies are going to go get lawyers and file class actions.
George, very quickly, last word to you before we wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we're going to end up with coverage nationwide very soon, because there are going to be multiple lawsuits, multiple class actions, and there are going to be broad injunctions issued against this unlawful and outrageous interpretation of the 14th Amendment.
Melissa Murray and George Conway, thank you both for your perspectives.
Well, you know what? I know Portia's gonna slap me for saying this, but shout out to Ketanji Brown Jackson being the smartest person on the Supreme Court right now. And I think Ketanji Brown Jackson is actually smart. And I listened to the whole case with SKC that the decision they're talking about, the district court injunctions, they didn't get around to doing the executive order on birthright citizenship. They get time to work their magic on that, but I think the 14th Amendment, even if you go back and look at the history of it, it was not just about black people, like Donald Trump said. He doesn't do history. He is not a book reader. He's wrong. It wasn't just about black people, oddly enough. So let's have a look at this, and I'm going to run and check on the oven. Jewel of Aquarius, hello. Tropes, hello. This is a pop-up show. I am not wedded to doing this all night. I'm just having a good old time cooking dinner. And of course, sipping on some Bud Light. Oh, John Welch, new here. Well, welcome aboard, sir. Welcome aboard. Stanley versus the world. Hit the like button and let's see where we go. Nate, you are in the Stanley chat, so well, I can still see the link there. Let's see. Let me drop the link on John's side. So y'all hit the link. It is somewhat of an open panel, and I'm hoping Jewel and the folks hit the chat. Yeah, we'll fuss Jewel, but it'll be okay. We always survive. So let's see what Afro and Full Windsor Not have to say.
To the weekend, I'm Eugene Daniels along with Jonathan Capehart, who is out at the Aspen Ideas Festival. Jackie Alamany is on parental leave. We begin with the U.S. Supreme Court, which has just handed President Trump a major victory, curbing court injunctions that halted his plans to end automatic birthright citizenship. In a decision steeped in historical analysis, the majority argued in part that because nationwide injunctions did not exist in the High Court of Chancery in England at the time of this nation's founding, lower courts had overstepped in blocking Trump's executive order. You'll remember, of course, we fought an entire war to be able to make our own rules and laws. Notably, the court did not rule on the constitutionality of Trump's move to end birthright citizenship. But in a scathing opinion, Justice Sotomayor writes, quote, "The gamesmanship in this request is apparent, and the government makes no attempt to hide it. Yet shamefully, this court plays along because I will not be complicit in so grave an attack on our system of law. I dissent." Trump's executive order is now set to take effect in 30 days. Lower courts are already taking action, setting deadlines for amended complaints to comply with the Supreme Court's new ruling. Joining us now to get into it is Michelle Goodwin, professor of law at Georgetown University and host of On the Issues at Ms. Magazine, and Mark Joseph Stern, senior writer at Slate. Michelle, I want to start with you because it doesn't seem like we got a lot of information in how this is actually supposed to work. What is the roadmap for folks as we move forward over this next 30 days and beyond?
Well, it's a bit of chaos, and unfortunately, we heard in oral arguments just what's at stake, which would mean that all across the country, individuals who are affected by this would have to secure a lawyer. Many of these people are probably going to be vulnerable in some sense, economically vulnerable to ICE, et cetera, to end up defending themselves against this executive order. There's also the tragedy that we've seen in other instances that have paved the way by anti-abortion states, where they have law enforcement willing to go into hospitals and maternity wards. Might we end up seeing ICE in those spaces as well? What has been unleashed is a chaos that is absolutely hypocritical, because this very same Supreme Court during the Biden administration was willing to entertain nationwide injunctions against the Biden administration over and over again without seeing that there be any problem. And one last thing I'd like to add to this. In this opinion, what the court talks about is equity. What could be more equitable than thinking about a person's belonging, their citizenship, and their personhood here in the United States? This really is a travesty.
Mark, help me. I'm still deep in the weeds here, trying to understand the practical effect of what the Supreme Court did yesterday. So after the 30 days is over, does that mean children born in the 28 states that weren't a party to this lawsuit, the children born in those states won't be American citizens until which time the question gets to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court decides on the constitutionality of birthright citizenship? Am I following this right?
That is one very possible outcome, because the Supreme Court suggested that the injunctions here have to be limited to the parties, and 22 states were parties, then children in those states should still be protected. But as you said, 28 states were not parties to this suit. And so the court implied that perhaps the injunction should not extend to those states and children born within them, which means that there could be an underclass, a new caste of newborns in 30 days who are stripped of American citizenship, even though it is their birthright under the 14th Amendment, and who are rendered deportable and quite possibly stateless from the moment they join this earth, which is a really startling and jarring outcome that the court barely bothers to address. I mean, you know, as Eugene indicated, this is a really kind of arcane and esoteric opinion. This is Amy Coney Barrett putting on blinders, in her majority opinion, to the devastating consequences of the ruling, not even considering the fact that the executive order here is patently unconstitutional under any reasonable reading of the law and 120 years of Supreme Court precedent. Now, there's a chance that the judges on the lower courts who have these cases might try to scramble and come up with other relief. Some of the lawyers have already tried to certify a class action as a substitute for the universal injunctions and say that they are representing every person who is affected by this order all across the country. That might work, but in a concurrence, Justice Alito, joined by Justice Thomas, warned that courts should not replace universal injunctions with class actions, that that's too much of a stretch as well, and that these kinds of relief should still be limited to individual plaintiffs. And if the lower courts are bound by that rule, then in 30 days, we are going to have, for the first time since before the Civil War, a new underclass of babies born of immigrants who are stripped of one of the most fundamental rights there is.
Michelle, I want to play some sound from the president from a press briefing that he did on Friday and then get you to respond on the other side.
Thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and
By the way,
numerous
hello,
other
Bob.
priorities.
Bobby, how you doing?
The list, as the president indicated, goes on and on and on. The kinds of things that, one, this White House feels like they can do and the things that may already be affected by this ruling. Like Justice Sotomayor said, they weren't hiding the ball. This wasn't really about the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship, right? This was about the ability for district courts to make nationwide, make rulings that affected the nation on issues that are of national importance. What does that do to the rule of law and kind of how we operate?
Well, let me answer Bobby Perkins' a question, because dinner is more important than politics. Dude, I did baked chicken leg quarters, which I did overnight, because I'm a big fan of dry marinades. I just prefer them. And let's see, summer squash, fresh summer squash, done with butter, dill, and onions. Onion powder and garlic powder. And the fancy thing are the English style roasted potatoes, not baked potatoes like the whole things, but there's a way, I don't know, you can look it up, but it's like potatoes that are kind of roughed up so they get crunchy. It's going to be good. And I'm in the last 30 minutes. Then dinner will be served. I'm going to eat maybe while online, maybe not. But you know what? It's Saturday. This is not a hard meal to prepare. The funny thing about cooking dinners, really good dinners start the day before, or maybe even, several days before. Meat especially, you can't just rip it out of the package and throw it on a hot pan. You actually have to prepare it. You have to dry marinate it. The prep is the most important part of actually making a good dinner. So I think every good cook knows this. So anyway, chicken, potatoes, and summer squash, basically. And then I have a salad which may or may not be eaten. We got some apples, for dessert, which I'm not a dessert person, but I think my son will make like a caramel sauce for the apples. He's a dessert guy. So that's what's for dinner. Dinner should look. I'm retired. I have time to do dumb shit like make a good dinner. Food should always be good if you have the time. Marinate your meat. Oh, did you really? Well, you know what? Checkers isn't bad, especially those fries. And I'm already prepping for tomorrow's dinner. I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm online, but what I have to do tomorrow is going to be fairly simple. So it will involve couscous, though. I'm going to do some form of kebabs, couscous, and it'll have a little bit of I have a thing for Moroccan style food, and anyway, you know what? I could talk food all night, so let's get back to the politics of it all.
And have operated, and what are the impacts of that on everyday people, other than having to get lawyers, possibly?
Well, one of the first things that I want to say, Gina, is that what the court did yesterday was also to show incredible disdain toward lower court judges. And it's notable that those of that 6 super conservative majority, individuals who've not served on district courts. I've been reminding people that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson really is quite experienced, more experienced than many of her peers on the Supreme Court, given that she served across various judicial branches. But look, this makes scorched earth of the rule of law, something that is critically important. The rule of law means that the court will be predictable, that precedent will matter, that the court will uphold constitutional values, that the court will pay attention to civil liberties and civil rights. And what we see is that that has been abandoned. We see across a series of cases where the court has allowed the weaponization of the First Amendment on religious grounds. We've seen the court be opportunistic with its originalism. It cares about originalism on one day. It doesn't care about originalism on another day. It's willing to say that nationwide injunctions are fine against the Biden administration, not fine in a Trump administration. And ultimately, what the Supreme Court has shown is that it's willing to give significant deference to the Trump administration, even on matters that are absolutely unconstitutional, as Mark just said, and also illegal. And we know that's the case through many of these executive orders. And it's worth noting that district court judges that have put a stop on them are district court judges that are Republican appointed, and some of whom have been appointed by Trump himself, who've said that these are blatantly unconstitutional and un-American.
Hey, Mark.
I need to make one point though. I still haven't gone back and read the full decision on the district court limitations. It's 119 pages, and I just haven't had the time. The decision was rendered yesterday. However, just a preliminary scan of it. The conservative justices, they aren't making shit up. It is so weird. The conservative justices, and look, the Warren Court did the same thing. They tend to read the letter of the Constitution. They tend to be very textualist, originalist when it suits them, or they will bend some words when it doesn't suit them to reach the decision that, kind of suits them. They are human. The Supreme Court didn't do anything horrible. However, they're political, and pretending you're not. The Supreme Court has always been political. Go back to Marbury versus Madison. John Marshall, first Chief Justice, was a cousin of Thomas Jefferson, and they hated each other. Marbury versus Madison. John Marshall was not. He was political. So from then on, pretending that they call balls and strikes. Yeah, sounds good, but they don't. They are political.
You mentioned a moment in response to my question to you earlier. You mentioned Justice Amy Coney Barrett having blinders on. And I just want to point something out that I don't know if folks have picked up on this or even know about this, but Justice Barrett gets personal going after Justice Jackson's dissent. And I want to let me read you this from this story, or from her dissent. We will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself, wrote Barrett. We observe only this: Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary. All right, Mark, look, this seems to...
Look, that was actually a clever turn of phrase. I actually laughed when I read it. Give Justice Barrett, Coney Barrett, her due. It was a clever turn of phrase, but she kind of deflects with a little one-liner, which I am prone to one-liners. She deflects from Justice Jackson's point, which is these justices, the conservative justices, are willing to concede a lot of power to the executive. And John Roberts in particular, look, they buy into that unitary executive theory. They gave Trump a bunch of immunity. See, Amy Coney Barrett is talking about the Constitution, but where in the Constitution does it talk about immunity in Article 2? It does not. So this is my point. Yeah, they're textualists as long as it kind of, agrees with their worldview, their politics. So you give the president immunity, but then you want to criticize someone for pointing out that, hey, this president is imperial. Tut tut. And I like Amy Coney Barrett. She's okay. But I am not a lawyer, but I sometimes should have done it.
To me, when I read this, it seems to me that the comity that we have long known about the Supreme Court is gone. Like the gloves are off when they're getting this seems to be a very personal response from one justice to another. Or am I reading too much into it?
It's very personal, and I think it's extraordinarily disrespectful. And
I don't know. Come on now. It's a one-liner. Get over it, kids.
Inappropriate from Justice Barrett, who touts herself as being collegial and professorial, but in this case clearly felt wounded by Justice Jackson's critiques. I think Jackson's blows clearly landed here. And Barrett responded with what I do agree is a far too personal retort that accuses Justice Jackson of not really being smart enough, I think, to levy a strong criticism of her opinion. That's totally out of bounds. It's highly unusual, even when the justice.
Okay, I have a totally different. You know what? I think that one-liner, and again, I'm all into one-liners. You know what? Amy Coney Barrett, it's a one-liner. Dude, I do it with John Galt all the time. You know what? There's nothing wrong with telling your friend. I don't agree that it was personal. It's a one-liner. Fucking get over it. Go to a comedy club. You'll learn what a one-liner is.
Disagree. They usually do so respectfully. And here Barrett is going much further. And I think the reason why is really obvious, right? Justice Jackson's dissent is one of the sharpest, fiercest, most blunt dissents we've ever seen. She is taking on the Supreme Court as an institution in the conservative supermajority. It's one of several dissents she published this term where she accused the supermajority on the right of bias toward the Trump administration, of surrendering the rule of law so that Trump can rule like a king, of essentially degrading our constitutional democracy and turning it into a monarchy that Trump can rule by
This
himself.
is not
And she's
another
saying
Jesus
not just that the
Christ.
majority is doing this by accident.
Our constitutional democracy? The fuck is he talking about? Come on now, dude.
That it's stumbling into this, but that it's doing it on purpose because this is how the majority sees the country, that they really believe Trump should rule it with no limits. And, I think after this decision, it's kind of hard to argue with that, right? The majority sees a policy that is so patently unconstitutional, and rather than understand that that's the emergency that courts need to address, it turns around and smacks down the lower courts and says, you went too far. So Jackson's criticism there was entirely appropriate, and for Justice Barrett to act so wounded and respond so personally is really out of bounds, disrespectful, and arrogant.
The Supreme Court Justice Jackson, in her dissents, all dissents are written for history, but certainly hers surely are. Mark Joseph Stern, Michelle Goodwin, thank you both very much for coming to the weekend.
All right. Well, I guess we are getting to the end of my videos. No one is going to hit the link. Well, if I do not have someone to kibitz back and forth with, why do the show? No one's coming up. Where are the folks? So anyway, let's see here. Let us get rid of the dross. So this is Tampa, and I don't know that I wish I was there because it's kind of hot and humid even in this part of Georgia. But and I'm not a Florida guy, but wouldn't hurt my feelings to go out night fishing. All right, well, everyone's welcome to hit the link. I will drop the link one or two more times, and then this might be a short show. There's the link in John Galt's chat. There, this is the link in the Stanley cross chat. Don't be shy, folks. Let's kibitz. Let's mix it up. And while you decide, I want to actually show this video, and I actually love this video. Didn't watch it the whole way through, but what I see here is something that a John Galt Odd Nation CT anti-black blacks don't want to admit that not everyone lives in the ghetto. Not all black people live in the
How
ghetto.
long you been up there? Okay. So that's why they're spinning.
What's up, 12th man? John Galt is kind of my
turban
my mentor.
Yesterday video.
John Welch, don't worry about it.
Water. I still do need.
He is kind of the star of this part of YouTube.
Window is right here, and when you look out, you can at least see a flower.
Now, apparently, these people
Good morning,
just
everyone.
bought the
Welcome
house.
back to Healthy Living. This is the
Of
next day.
Mississippi.
We are in Mississippi. Today is going to be a very busy day. Hubby's already up on the roof. I just showed you where he was changing out the wind turbine. And I'm getting ready to show you the plant that we watered yesterday, the roselle that was struggling. And let's check on it. We're going to be going to the storage, moving furniture. Today is the day that we are going to be moving.
You there?
Yeah.
Hey,
Did you
how
miss
are
me?
you? I always miss you.
All right, I'm
Go
sure.
away.
I'm sure. So I just thought I'd
Actually, I
talk about.
do. I love talking to you.
Do you? Because I think we get feisty, but you know what, Stanley? I do have love for you. However feisty we get, you know,
Well, feisty
you're
is the spice of life.
you're a good person somewhere in there, even if we disagree on a lot of stuff.
Somewhere in there?
Yeah, you know.
Oh my. Well,
No, I'm just saying, like, I think we agree on plenty of stuff that we don't get to, you know, when we're talking. And last night got pretty spicy. So hey, do you have Republic of
as
Cheese
it
like
does. There are a lot of nights that get spicy.
for sure? I would love to talk to Republic of Tea again.
Well, you know what? Actually, she's the reason I started this stream. I have no clue where she is.
Well, do you remember how things happened last night? Because I was wondering if she would even come back.
Well, you know what? Actually, I literally said, I was on John's show before this, and as it goes, I got a little spicy with John, but she was in the chat, and um, honestly, I think Republic Tea Room actually kind of understands me. Sometimes you just have to ignore me and move on. I think the world of her, but no, she was in the chat, John's chat. I literally asked, and maybe you weren't there, should I start another stream? And there were some ones, hey, one, I'll start a new stream. It'll take me a minute, but yeah, I'm only doing this because people like Republic wanted me to start a stream.
Well, that's nice. Well, in general, I think the community's here.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Whether that's
You just
happening or not.
sometimes you either have to fight back or just look. My wife used to do yes, dear, and walk away. It's like, you know what? You'll come to
I
it.
feel her. It's easier. Just
Well,
agree or just say yes, dear.
it's also very effective.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens when you do something like that is like, at least with someone like me, well, damn it, you're not smart enough to talk to. Come back to me when you have sense.
Well, you put it that way, not me. I don't think it's about
Well,
smart.
no,
Sometimes,
I knew my wife well enough to know that was what she was thinking. She's like, you know what, you are worked up. Come back to me when I don't know. That's probably the most. Look, you're not smart enough to talk to right now. Um, that's
so you don't think it was about ego? It's not, not intelligence versus ego. You don't think it was maybe an ego thing? Maybe sometimes.
I don't think it was either. I mean, my wife was pretty smart. Ego, intelligence was never something I questioned.
No, but like sometimes when I went for me, okay, so I'm not saying this to be rude or anything, but
Mhm.
for me, when I'm just like I give up in conversing or debating with someone, it's because I see maybe some ego where they can't get past a certain point. So okay, it's not worth trying to go there because they can't go there.
Well, I'm not the level of psychologist you are, and I don't play one on TV.
I'm not
Ego,
saying that was
ego is literally not something I think about. I literally do think, honestly, do you know what you're talking about? And a lot of times, especially in this John Galt universe, half the time people don't even know what they're talking about. They don't know the history of the topic they're talking about. Um, let's not use ego or intelligence. Let's use ignorance. Most people are ignorant of the topic they're talking about that I talk to on these panels. They simply don't know. So ego,
sure,
nope.
sure.
Intelligence, everyone is smart in this John Galt universe. Ignorance is the problem. Don't know, literally, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just listening to some Fox News talking point, or for that matter, an MSNBC talking point. MSNBC is the alter ego of Fox News.
Yeah, I don't watch either of those.
Right. Well, it's not a matter of I or you or anything. If you come and you want to talk politics, know the politics, know the history. Um, most people do not know what the hell they're talking about. They
I
don't know.
agree with you. Stanley, so guess what? So last night I was bringing up some history and you got mad at me for bringing up the history. So, like,
Well, did you get the
should we
history?
dissect that?
Sure.
Really?
I said sure. You don't
Okay.
trust me?
Well, No, because like things are intertwined, going back hundreds of years, not just in our lifetime. And we haven't seen it, and maybe we start to see it.
Okay,
So,
well,
like when last night when I brought up the '94 crime bill, you got really mad.
yeah,
You
because
got very
well,
upset because it is a historical thing that
you're
happened.
on a solid snake. You brought up the '94 crime bill, and it was irrelevant to my point.
But it was relevant to my
94
point.
crime bill. Look, most of the '94 crime bill no longer applies. So telling me what Joe Biden did back in 1994 and we are in 2025, you are doing like a lot of people do. Okay. Half the time that I talk about what's happening in what is it, June 28th, 2025, half the time people want to talk about Obama or Biden. Um, what do they have to do with today? Going back and doing whataboutism is just dumb. And it's not something I'm going to follow up. So, Biden 94 crime bill, what does that have to do with today, 2025? Can you help me there? Can you connect those dots?
Well, I was saying it was a three-pronged approach of
Okay,
things that were happening back then.
what I'm asking you is
Okay.
please make the 94 crime bill that Joe Biden, and you know what? He wasn't the only senator in the Senate at the time. He certainly wasn't president, so he didn't sign it into law.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, well, that bill.
Connect it to relevance today.
Okay, so as far as relating it to today, that bill made crack cocaine sentences, which were more in the black community because, quote unquote, rich people. Remember Whitney Houston? She was like, I didn't do crack, I did cocaine. Crack is whack.
Stick to who cares about
Stanley, you can go on and on before you make your point. Let me have a few seconds. I think you didn't even let me have 2 minutes, dude.
See,
Look,
it is a fat argument. Trim the Whitney Houston and get to the point. Yes, I love Whitney Houston. You had me.
The point,
you had me about the crack cocaine until you brought up Whitney Houston.
But the point was that they were making bigger sentences for crack cocaine than regular cocaine. If you're a rich person just getting cocaine, it could be Whitney Houston, it could be some rich white guy. It doesn't fucking matter. You had money.
Why does Whitney have
so
to?
They were going to get less sentences. You're right. I shouldn't have brought up Whitney Houston. Somebody doing coke is going to get a less sentence than somebody doing crack.
Yeah,
and that's the point. Okay, and that was confounded
cocaine
with.
versus crack cocaine. Yes, we know this.
Okay, so that was confounded with the whole. Remember, so before prisons were mostly government run, and that's when they brought in the private prison system. And then they also had, some meeting in LA where they were trying to gangsterify, and they did, rap music. Because before that, a lot of stuff was, like you're headed for self-destruction, and like it was uplifting and at least trying to teach people to not go that way. And then all of a sudden, a lot of rap music gets like gangsterified and about killing each other and being the best killer, being the best gangster or whatever. And those three things together, it was about filling the prisons. So even though like we don't want to put it on the black community, something happened, and it's not it, and it was those three things that led to where we are now. with more young black people killing each other. And it's not necessarily your reality or where you're from or even where I'm from, but we can see it in the statistics. So if
I
we
think
care
you
about
are
people, how do we
literally.
help them?
I
How
think
do we help people?
absolutely. I what are you done? Or are you going to keep beating this boring dead horse?
I'm done. It's not boring because it's
It is
happening.
a surface level analysis of nothing at all.
Okay.
It's
Sure,
shallow.
Stanley.
It's easy. No, I'm sorry, but you know what? I'm going to be blunt.
Well, if it's so shallow, how come
No,
nobody has
it is
ever fixed it?
literally. It is literally shallow. It is literally mayonnaise on a piece of Wonder Bread.
Hmm. Well, then why are there the issues that we
It's
have
not a
today?
deep analysis.
How did it grow to what it is today if it's so shallow? I'm
Um,
not saying I'm a rocket scientist over here.
no,
I'm just saying this is the shit that's
I'm
happened.
also saying that you want to start with 94 and then go forward. I say the problem started 100 years before 94.
I agree. Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, then tell me the history. Don't talk about Joe Biden in 94.
How many
Dude,
people can go
a
back that far to
shallow,
94,
a
Stanley?
shallow analysis. The problem start. Joe Biden didn't create the problem. Crack cocaine did not create the problem. Stop it.
I'm not saying it created it, but it was part of
I am
the
saying, well, did
progression
you
of
hear what I
things that
said?
happened.
Did you hear
Let's
what I
not
said?
argue, Stanley. Let's put our heads together and
No,
figure
we're
out
not
how we can
arguing. I'm
help the
telling
youth.
you,
How do we help the youth?
I don't care. That's what parenting is for.
But why don't you care?
That is what
Because that's what
parenting
you're
is
saying.
for. That is what parenting is for.
Okay,
Fix the
so I agree
parenting.
with you.
Fix the
Parenting is important, but let's just look at what exists now, okay? Let's say that there's shitty
okay.
parents out there, and
Before we do,
there's some fucked up
ma'am,
kids because of their shitty parents. How do
before
we help them right
you're
now?
doing solid snake here.
What?
Before we get into, okay, you want to talk, you want to go from 94 forward. I literally said 100 years before that, and maybe even before that, the problem started.
Well,
Joe
I did
Biden,
say that it happened
okay,
before
I
that. I
don't
did say
understand
that
why
the problem came before that.
why can't
It
I
was a
finish
part of the
my point?
progression.
Why can't
That's
I
how
finish
people
my
feel with
point?
you, Stanley, all
Why
the time.
can't I
I'll let
finish
you
my
finish.
point? The point is, it is shallow analysis, and okay, if it makes you feel good, it is literally mayonnaise on Wonder Bread. A thin layer of mayonnaise, by the way. Joe Biden didn't create the problems. Neither did Trump, for that matter. Dig deeper.
I never said they started the problems. I'm just referencing as far back enough in people's lives that are alive today that they could understand what's happening.
Yeah,
But I
like
agree with
that.
you. It goes
The
back
people
hundreds of
alive
years, for
today,
sure.
people alive today didn't create the problems. They just perpetuate the problems. They
Right.
didn't create the problems. We live in the troubled waters.
But so the point, though, don't you think, is that how do we stop the problems? How do we heal and grow and move forward? All people.
We
How do
can't
we do that?
agree. For starters, look, for starters, we can't agree what the problem is. And most people aren't smart enough to know when the problem started. I literally think the problem started in 1776, and let's even go 100 years before that. Let's go back, we don't understand the problem, and I honestly think this is part of why we don't want to educate kids on American history, because they might start asking questions. Start with Joe Biden in 1994, and you're scratching the surface.
Okay. So go back and start with 1775 or 1776. I would love to hear your perception and
Good.
what you think
I
about
don't
things
know.
that
I'm
happened.
not a historian, but there is the counter revolution of 1776. Gerald Horne. Google it. Start there.
No, you told me I can't bring anything like that. I have to give you total facts.
17
So do
here.
you have facts?
Well, nope. But I can give you the facts if you like reading a book.
Well, that's what I said to you
Do you have a
yesterday, and you
problem?
wouldn't
Do
read
you
anything
have
I
a
could send to
problem?
you.
Do you have a problem with reading a historian and a history book?
Absolutely not. I love reading. Give me the
Good.
link. Put it in the back chat. I'll read
Hold
it,
on.
and we can
I'm
talk about
looking
it the
it up
next
right
time I
now.
come up. Okay, we can do
And
that.
he's got well shit. I got a 3 hour. I got I got about 6 hours of history interviews. But let's see. Let's put this and then I'm gonna have to go clear microwave alarm. But
Okay.
the oven's off. But this is the book I'm talking about, and give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna.
Okay.
It's shit. I guess I should enlarge it. But it's called The Counter Revolution of 1776. Gerald Horne.
And
Now,
you read this whole book.
yes, that
Okay.
and several other history books. I'm kind of a history person, amateur historian or amateur history reader. Won't even call myself a historian. You don't think I've read this book? Why would I recommend it?
I'm just asking, just double checking. Can you just can you just put the
Actually
link
do
in the
read the
back
books I
chat?
recommend.
I can look it up, but can you put the link in the back chat and then you can go do your microwave and
Oh, I don't do microwaves. It's a microwave.
whatever you're doing. I don't do microwaves
Here
either. I don't
is
even own one.
Oh, you know what? I didn't until I was 35. And guess who bought my microwave? My parents did. They're like, why don't you have a microwave? My
Honestly, they're
parents,
not good for us.
oh, they're good for heating up water.
Mm, we have electric kettles now for that. That's fine.
Well, you you know what? That's actually a good rebuttal. I can't argue with that. My only argument is that it's quicker to heat up water in the microwave. I generally do a minute per cup. So, 4 cups of water, 4 minutes. So I put the link in the back chat.
Thank you.
I will put this link into the chat. And look, history books are boring, but, not to people who like history and, politics.
No, I dig it. I dig it. But I mean, it's whatever perspective this person is coming from. So I might
Okay,
give you another book
thing
after I
is,
read this one.
well, the interesting thing is don't take his word for it. There are tons of history books about the American Revolution.
Right.
So, but let me do propose this. Everyone's going to agree on what happened. The interpretation of why it happened is different. What happened is a fact. The interpretation of why it happened or what the effects were, that's where the actual history comes in. However, read both sides, read it widely, at least know what you're talking about, because I think the harm actually started before the American Revolution. The harm started way before that.
Of course, sure.
So,
I
anyways,
mean,
let me play this video right quick. I will literally be back in like a minute. I just need to clear this alarm. But
okay.
I do want to watch this video. I do want to make the point is this is not a crack hoe in Walmart. these are people who bought a house.
Moving the plants from Louisiana to Mississippi and doing a little bit more other things. But I don't know exactly how much I'm going to be able to share with you all, but I'm going to share as much as I can. Let's go check out this plant. Okay, so we on the carport, and here is the roselia. Just like I said, we're going to leave it right here for right now and give it some time. Seems like the plants really do well back here. It looks like from this end. Definitely that TV is coming down. We're going to replace it. So far, honey done already replaced the lights. There's 3 here. We're going to have to replace the ceiling fan. So them lights over there, there's a lot that needs to be done. We're going to be busy. Let's go check out the other plants that I worked on yesterday. This is the Gerber daisy, and yeah, gonna have to keep plenty of water. Make sure it's okay because it is directly in the sun. I'm gonna just take a small area and just put paper down and some plastic. Clean this up over here and add some rocks when you're pulling up to the driveway. I am not
Come
going
back,
to do
Jewel.
anything just yet to this area. This
Welcome back.
area, and I would not be buying any
What do you
rocks.
think so far?
Them white rocks
Pretty big
is
house.
really expensive, and I'm only
She has
doing one
a lot of great
area,
space for doing some
not like I
gardening.
did at the other house. But I
Yep.
do enjoy rocks. I am a person who loves rocks. Right now, starting out, we're going to be doing containers. There's nothing wrong with containers, but right now we just don't know where I want to. Right here in this area, we might bring the plants and set them down.
Well,
Right
Bobby,
over
I
in here.
recommend
Not exactly
stop
sure, but they're going to have to go
looking
somewhere.
at her potential
You
hairstyles
know, baby had
and
to get
start
his bird
looking
feeders
at the
up.
land they're moving into.
We've been doing some bird watching.
This is what we can do. You don't have to get a jerry curl to do that.
So this is a good area that I would be able to water the plants as well. Baby still at it.
I don't want to get too much sun, but at least we know we can move them a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, right off in here would be pretty good. From that morning sun still blocked.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, she doesn't have a jerry curl, sir.
Those trees over there kind of kill some of the sun for them.
Okay.
So they don't want to get too burned up.
Props to that man over there looking about where the best sun is.
Bring our groceries over here. Yeah, I have no idea what they are looking like. So we might just be bringing some soil in containers. Okay. So I need to take care of this ant problem right here so they won't end up in my container. Okay, this is the cucumbers. We make sure we got them water, Egyptian onion, and whatever this thing is supposed to be. And then we have our potatoes.
I don't even know what that means. Okay.
And Yukon Gold.
If you say so, Bobby, maybe you know her.
You just resting?
Yeah, just looking around.
Did you eat already?
Not yet.
Okay.
I was going to get started on this when the sun got too hot.
Oh, look at that wife being concerned about her man.
It rained today, but possible.
Sounds nice.
I haven't done nothing either. I got up, her hubby up here banging on the something. I started looking around, trying to come out and see if he need my help. But it looks like he's got it. All right. Well, man, your girl been looking pretty rough. Been dedicating all the time to the house, the garden, cleaning, moving. It's no joke. I didn't get a chance to film us putting everything in the trailer right here as far as the plants and then stuff that was on the patio. Yeah, it was so hot. So let me show you what things are looking like. So I don't know if you can see everything, and this is not everything, but the plants were struggling, and it's full. But what I'm thinking about doing, so y'all can kind of see what I'm talking about. Yeah, that is definitely not a good spot for this plant. Even up here, it still looks like he's having a hard time. But from over here, so y'all can get a good look, see that tree right there, all the shade? I think we're going to take them out and put them here. What y'all think? So they can get themselves together. And I think that would be a start. So I'm going to start unloading. Oh my goodness, y'all.
Stanley, what state is she in?
Here we go.
I'm sorry, what? What state?
Yeah, what state is she in? Where is she?
Well, she literally said she was in Mississippi. You didn't hear that
Oh,
part?
I must have missed it. Might have been when dude was
They
talking to
are,
me.
I think they're moving from Louisiana to Mississippi, but this is Mississippi. She actually said it. And looks like a decent sized house and property. So let me ask you a question. We got 12 people between two channels. Is this not toxic enough?
No, this is great. I don't need toxic.
Well, no. I think people like the John Galt, Ock Nation, the let's shit on blacks and be anti-black style. And I'm not talking about you, by the way. But I look at numbers. I don't see Nas here. I don't see Solid Snake here. My assessment of half these motherfuckers is you're not shitting on black people, therefore it's uninteresting. Carmelo Anthony isn't on the minds of these two black folks moving into a big house. Showing this boring stuff. Let's pretend we all live in the ghetto, and what happens in the ghetto affects every black person in America.
I'm with you. They're
I
living
find it
their lives.
okay. You miss my point. I think the anti-black blacks like John Galt, like CT, like Ock Nation, they're fucking morons, and they are predisposed. Maybe they're hurt, maybe they're broke, mentally. This is real life for black people, not what happens in the hood. Crack cocaine ain't it gets press. If you want to criticize the media, it's that they are businesses and need to sell papers or videos or whatever they do. This, I argue, is how black people live. Not motherfucking in the hood shooting people up and crack cocaine. And there is no 70% like that motherfucking racist moron, Be Brave, has convinced John Galt and the others.
Well, I agree with you that there's
Okay,
all kinds of people, and
okay.
these are great
Yeah,
people.
there are all kinds of people, but most blacks are not what Be Brave or John Galt or CT or Bob or
Sure,
all those fucking morons think black people.
absolutely. I agree with you, Stanley. I
Therefore,
totally do.
therefore I trash them because I think they're idiots.
Okay. Well, that's fair and that's fine.
Oh,
So,
no, I don't want
look,
it to be fair. I want it to be unfair.
Okay, okay.
I want
Look,
it to be unfair. I want them to know that I'm kicking their ass and bullying them. They're fucking morons.
You guys are just opposite ends of the spectrum. Like this
No,
woman,
they
I'm
are.
jealous. I am
No,
jealous
they
of the
are
land
on
that
the
I
right.
wish I had that much land to garden in. I am. That's amazing. Good for her. That's great.
John Galt wishes he had that much
And
to garden in. And better than
you
that,
know,
Galt
she's
wishes
doing amazing.
John Galt literally wishes he wanted to garden. Motherfucker sitting here talking about look, sitting here seeking out every motherfucking kid who murdered somebody is fucking ridiculous, and it's a symptom of something deeper.
But I agree with
normal black
but it's
people
happening,
don't see
Stanley. That stuff is happening. Like
and
what you're
this is
showing is
happening
happening,
too,
but also what John Galt is happening.
This is happening too. There is more of what we're looking at than Carmelo Anthony's in the black
For
community.
sure, absolutely, I agree with you.
Then,
Absolutely.
you know what? Then when I pointed out, I get
It doesn't mean that those communities or what's happening there doesn't need healing, and that it doesn't need attention.
Fuck the healing.
And I'm not saying John Galt goes about it the right way because I'm not sure there's any healing happening there. But
see, this is what morons do. They make
don't call me a moron. Nope. You don't get to call me a moron.
Oh wait, why are you taking this personally? I didn't call you a moron. I said that's what those morons do.
No, you didn't say those. You said that's what morons do when I was speaking.
That's what morons do. Did I say Jewel is a moron?
What do morons do? All I'm saying is that the whole spectrum exists.
Let me finish what I'm saying and then assess. They take exceptions and make them rules. Do you do that?
No. No.
Okay, then you're not who I'm talking about.
Okay. What I'm saying now is because I care about all of humanity. I don't care if you're in India or in America. I care about humans. So how do we help them heal? How do we help them grow? Whatever's fucked up in America, I believe that it partially is. Like if you're a good, loving human, then it is our responsibility as good, loving humans to try to help other people that aren't totally healed in that place. There's a lot of mental, emotional, a lot of stuff going on with people. And I struggle with this. Can I keep speaking though, just for a minute?
Yeah,
I struggle with this. I'm white, my man's black. His brother, so my man is a great, great, great guy. He works, he does his shit, he takes care of his stuff.
Man,
no.
You talked about suffering. Is your man suffering?
So no, look, you didn't let me finish stuff. His brother is caught up in some of that, like, I don't know, I don't want to call it a gang lifestyle because he's not in a gang, but he's caught up in materialistic bullshit, wanting to be, it's stupid, like the stupid rap gang stuff. Like he's caught up in that stuff. It's very opposite, a total dichotomy. So I don't know how to help my brother-in-law.
Why is this
to not be a dumb fuck?
Why is
I'm just saying. So when you talk about the John Galt universe, when they're pointing out people being stupid and doing stupid shit,
literally,
that's my brother-in-law. That's my brother-in-law doing that stupid shit. So I'm saying, how do we help
John Galt?
I can't figure out how to even help him.
John Galt know your brother-in-law?
No, I'm saying it's the mentality of those type of people, Stanley.
Look,
I'm saying it's the mentality of those kind of people.
Okay,
the hood mentality, the people who want to like glorify killing people, or
Let me
the
ask
people
you a
who just
question then.
care about
If you
money.
want to drone on about the hood mentality, do most black people have the hood mentality? And if they
No, but
do,
it's there,
well, give me a
and that's where
percentage.
the problem
In
happens.
jewels and I don't think it's that big a problem.
I don't know the exact percentage, maybe 15%, 20, whatever percentage you're seeing of, people killing each other and fucking each other over and thinking that that's cool because they killed somebody, they're cool. Those people, the Gruel
Good.
rappers, that
Well,
kind of shit.
now may I
Those
speak?
dumb people.
Now may I speak?
Of course.
It's not a problem. We are blowing things out of proportion, and racists like John Galt and Be Brave blow it out of proportion and make it seem like it's bigger than it is.
Well, all right, sure, perhaps, but so the last statistical official data that I looked at was from 2019 from the FBI as far as people killing and being dead from, murders and stuff. And the black community has like 7,000, whatever.
Less than the
And
white
then the white
community.
people. No, the
Oh,
white people had like 5,000, Stanley. No,
FBI.
there's like a lot more black people killing each other than white people.
I'm afraid
And especially if you go
you're
per
wrong.
capita, Stanley,
Let's
and
talk
you're
about.
smart,
Okay,
you
well then,
understand math,
well then, do you
you understand
understand?
per capita,
Okay,
right? You're smart, you understand math, you
you do
understand per
not
capita, you
understand
understand.
per capita. You don't
No, I
understand.
do.
There are
No,
more
I
white
absolutely
dead
do.
bodies. Let me help you out here. Here's the
Okay.
statistics. Let me know what you want to know. There are more white dead bodies than black dead bodies. Can you agree with that? We're not talking per capita. We can get to per capita.
Well,
Here's the
as
FBI
far as
statistic.
if you look at the 2019 FBI tables, there was 5,000, 5K. I'm just going to round off the numbers to 5K and 7K. Okay, there were 5K dead white people, and there were 7K dead black people. Okay,
wrong.
so
Wrong.
no, it's not.
Wrong.
Look it up. I tried to even give you the link.
Wrong.
It's not.
It
As
is
far
wrong.
as
Your
murders.
memory,
So no, there's a
is
lot
not
more
working, ma'am.
people.
Your memory
Stanley,
is not working right. You
I'll
don't
send
know.
you the link, Stanley.
I'm gonna back off. You need to learn what statistics are. You need to learn.
I already know what they are.
You do
I
not
was a
know.
You talked about being a chemistry major. I was a biochem major. I'm very good at math.
Literally, you're not good at math. You're not
I
good
am.
at statistics, and you were just wrong on the facts.
No, I'm not.
And when you say died, how did these black people die? How did these white
It
people?
was murders. It wasn't just death.
So
We're
there
talking
are
about
more black
murders.
murders. So your premise, and it is a premise, is that more black people die of murder than white people?
By other black people, yes.
Okay.
It is. I'm saying it's something I'm concerned about. It's not a blame game, Stanley. You take it as like a blame thing. It's not. It's because I care and I want people to not kill each other so much. So how do we stop that?
Your personal ignorance. You need to go into the epic. No, this is ignorance. It is epic. And you laugh. Let me drop the link. See, because this is what I do to people who don't know their shit. I
do, Stanley. I already know, though.
You do not. You already.
What do you do when you don't know, Stanley?
What year was 29?
I can give you
years ago. How many years ago was 2019, ma'am?
Why are you asking that? Like it's a big question.
Because you're citing 2019 statistics.
So it was 6 years ago. You think it's better or worse
Is it
now?
motherfucking 2019 now, ma'am?
That's the last time I did
It's
an
the last
analysis.
time. Yeah. 2019.
You can't
2019
get all the
you want to
statistics
talk
for
about
2025 because
you
all
want
of
to talk about
2025 hasn't happened yet.
I gotcha.
No,
You want to
no,
talk
you don't.
2019 and 2025 and act like you know shit. 2019 is not 2025, and you were wrong in 2019.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the back chat.
I'm not going to look at it. Don't bother.
Oh, so you won't look at it at the link that I sent? It's FBI statistics
This is
of
why
people
I
killing
don't like
each other.
talking. This is why I don't like talking to people who don't understand numbers.
I understand numbers.
You do not.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You know what? I'm going to
I'm
say
not
yes,
stupid,
you do.
Stanley.
I'm going to say
Look.
yes, you do. I'm going to say yes, you do, just to make you feel better.
I don't need you to make me feel better. I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is of me. I don't care what anybody's opinion is of me. It's about statistics and the numbers, and you're very smart,
In
Stanley.
2019,
So then
you want to talk.
Go to the FBI statistics
ridiculousness.
website about the homicides and murders that happened. You look at the numbers, Stanley. Go look at the numbers yourself
I'm not
because
going back
it's
to
sad.
2019.
It's a very
I'm
sad
not going back to
epidemic.
2019, ma'am. You are a be
It's
brave.
not part of history.
You are a be
I'm
brave.
not a be brave. He's a racist. I'm not racist. I care about people not killing each other. I care about people not killing each other. Fuck's sake.
Ma'am,
I care about people not killing each other, Stanley.
Do better. Do better.
I'm very better. You don't equate me to be brave. How? Okay,
I'm
so
not
I'm gonna.
hey,
I'll be quiet in a second. Please tell me how you want to say that I'm like be brave because I am so
You are
far
like
from be
be
brave.
brave with your understanding of statistics.
How? How? That makes no sense to me.
And Clarice, someone who wants to not know the numbers, hit the goddamn link. I'm right, y'all are wrong.
Stanley, you won't even look at the numbers.
Okay,
You just
ma'am,
said you
I
won't
don't
look at
need
the
to
numbers.
look at the numbers.
These
I
are
don't need
statistics.
to.
The actual
No,
amount of people that
You
have died
Hey, how many
from gang violence, black on black crime, that's listed in those statistics. White on white crime, black on white crime, white on black, black on white. All of that's listed in the FBI data table. And what comes out is that there's more black people killing each other. So my point is, how do we stop
killing each
black
other?
people killing each other? Yeah, the young kids,
Let me tell
the
you.
younger. I'm not saying people your age or my age, Stanley. I'm saying the young kids. They're all fucking killing each other.
They are not all killing each other. And your thinking, your logic, and then we can bring in Nate and Clarice and everyone into this. This is mayonnaise on Wonder Bread.
And Nate needs to come on up. Yep, bring him up. Bring Clarice too.
All I'm saying is more white people in America die of murder than black people. Now we can start.
No. Where did you get that? That's fucking hilarious. You need to actually look at the FBI tables. That's right. So you want to say more people, but I can say
look up shit.
Right in 2019. 2019, there were about 5,000 white people that were murdered and 7,000 black people that were murdered. And you know that the population of black people is 15, less than 15% of the population.
Bullshit.
So it's wow. You need to work on your numbers. You need to work on how you see numbers because it's a bigger percentage of what's happening in the black community than the white community. I'm not saying I like it. I'm asking how do we work together to make it better?
I don't give a
You want to
shit.
argue with me
Okay,
about what
no,
the
no, no,
statistics
no,
are.
no.
Those are
Ma'am,
real
stop being a
statistics.
goddamn hippie.
I'm not being a hippie.
You are literally being a hippie, and it's
And I'm talking
annoying.
about real
You are
numbers.
literally being a hippie, and you are
Okay.
annoying. You are
Mhm.
literally not understanding. You're talking 2019, and your numbers for 2019
So
are wrong.
what?
See, you
No, they're
want
not.
to basically smear
Go look.
all these.
Go look.
You are be brave. You don't. You see a number, and then you project on it. More white people die of murder than black people in 2019, and you don't believe that. Then you want to stop.
I'm
Then
going off
no,
the FBI
I'm right
data
there.
tables.
Joel,
So
I will put you in the back.
go look at that.
Let me
Go look at that.
Okay, bottom line is you want to smear all of it into one motherfucking narrative. Start looking at statistics by category, ma'am, and then maybe the light will be revealed to you. You do not understand your argument, and I talked about this a while ago. People come up here and they do not understand their own arguments. You hear Fox News level bullshit in innate ways. Look, go look it up and take your fucking
Jesus fucking Christ.
I do not know why I have to be disturbed.
You look up something. You
What
go look up those data tables. You're not looking
What
up
do you
that.
want
You're
me to
saying
look
that
up?
other
What
people
do you
don't
want me
look
to
at the
look up?
numbers. Go
You
look at the
literally
numbers,
don't know
Stanley.
what you're talking
Look
about.
at the numbers. I do know what I'm talking about because I
You
fucking
do
looked them
not
up
know what you're
because I did
talking
a
about.
video.
And
I
you
did a whole thing.
you're used
Jesus
to
Christ.
John Galt and people like that who don't challenge.
Oh, no, that has nothing to do with it.
All right.
That has nothing to do with it.
You know what? Since you are
So
so
look,
accurate,
I did a video and I think it was
I don't give
2020
a
and that's
shit
why
about your video. Why do I care
let me
about
tell
your
you.
motherfucking video? Who
Jesus
cares about your
fucking
video?
Christ, Stanley.
Because
Let
you
me
did a
explain.
video,
You won't
you
even
are
let me
right.
say like 2 sentences.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh, you think you're right?
Stop it. Oh, I know
You
I'm
stop
right.
it. Well, good for you.
Your
I know I'm right
your
too.
video means nothing.
Black babies' lives don't matter. You know
Black
why?
babies. How many black babies were murdered? Why are we even talking about
5
black
times
babies?
the amount of
Why are we
the
talking
murders
about
that
black
happened.
babies?
5
We were
times
talking
the amount
about
of white
crime.
babies.
See,
That's why I'm
it is
citing the
man-made
2019 data
or
because
white
that's
bread.
what's in my
You
fucking
want
head,
to talk black
Stanley.
babies? We weren't talking about black babies. Well, how did black
No.
babies come into this, ma'am? See, you don't know your
Because
shit.
it's the whole greater, no,
dude,
because it plays
you
into
would
the whole
bring up
greater
black babies.
plan of bullshit that's happening, and you only want to say like,
Bring up
oh
black
no,
babies.
everything
You're
stands
bringing
alone, that
black babies
everything
who were
isn't
murdered.
interrelated.
You are
Everything is
bringing black
related.
babies. Why are we even talking black babies?
I guess you don't care. Keep aborting them then.
No, I don't care. We
Oh,
know that.
good for you.
Can we
That's
agree?
special.
Hey, hold it. Maybe this is your problem. No, Stanley does not care about babies he doesn't know. Are you okay with that?
You do you.
I will do.
You do you. You don't
I've
care
been
that
doing
Margaret
it.
Sanger is
I've
like
been doing it
wanting
for
to
how
eradicate
long?
your race.
All of a sudden,
You don't
now it's
care
about
that they want to just totally
I
eradicate
love,
you. That's fine.
I
Good for you. You're
love
helping them. You're
stupid
helping the
people.
white people who hate you, Stanley, by not caring. That's what it is.
Fuck the white people that I'm helping. I don't know them either.
Well,
why would I care? They're not paying my bills. Why should I care about the white people I'm helping?
wow.
Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
I mean every syllable of it. I don't know them. They're not paying my bills. Am I going to spend a
That
whole
boils
lot of
down to
time?
how
Am I
intelligent
really
you
going to
actually
spend?
are compared
Hey,
to
hey,
how much you
this
think
is
you
why
fucking are.
people fail. This is why people fail
Hmm.
because they
Exactly.
start worrying about
Congratulations.
shit they can't understand or fix, and then they ruin their own lives
When
while they
you say understand or fix, that's just shit that you don't care about understanding. You
I
don't care about
no, I
understanding the
literally said I
interrelation of
don't.
things. When I said three
Ma'am,
things
thank
happened
you,
last night in the early
thank you,
90s, you
thank
didn't
you.
care that they
No,
interrelated,
I
and you
did
said
not
they
care. I did
they
not
didn't
step
relate.
in.
They fucking do.
No, ma'am.
They relate. They do.
They do not relate, and if they did, you're
They
not
do.
going to
They
tell
work
me to
together.
relate them. I've yet to
You
hear.
want to say the 94 crime
See,
bill, and
this is
then
the
the private
94
prison for
crime bill has
profit system,
nothing to
and
do.
then the,
Yes,
rap
I want
music
to
used to
say
be like
that. Yes, I
self-destruction to
want
stop
to
the
say
violence,
that.
but
This
now
is
it's all
be
this
brave.
bullshit.
This is
No,
Solid
Be
Snake.
Brave doesn't know
You
shit about
you
me.
can't let me respond because I'll just blow you out of the water.
Okay,
Dumb
good
shit.
luck.
I don't need luck. I'm already here. I don't care about
Okay,
shit I can't
Stanley.
control. I do not care about shit I can't control. Try it. It'll work.
It's not about whether you can control it or not. It's about
Yes,
whether
it
you
is
care or not.
absolutely about whether you can
So do you?
control it.
Okay.
What
So are
planet do
you
you
pro
live
black or
on?
not? Are
See,
you pro
okay,
black or
let me
not,
put it to
Stanley?
you this way.
You
I
want to talk
think
about the anti-black blacks? You don't give a fuck about black people the way you're talking right now. You
I
don't
don't
give
give
a
a
fuck.
fuck about
So,
black people I don't know.
well, how many black people you know? Like 30,
Oh,
50,
well, I
30,
literally
50?
just said what I
Is that how
care
many black
about, and
people
you
you know
can't
that you
fucking
care about?
accept it. I do not care
Why
about
don't you?
shit. I don't care about shit I can't control or fix. Why should you?
That's like a narcissist. That's total. I get it.
No,
That's a total narcissist answer.
it is literally understanding what I can control and what I can't. Try it. It works.
That's easy for your world. That's
Motherfucker,
easy
of
for your
course it's
existence.
easy. I've
Sure.
done it.
Yeah.
People
Mhm.
look,
That's
yeah.
not the hard thing. That's not the hard.
Should I
That's
say
not
it
hard.
again? If I can't control it, fix it, or know it, why would I care about it? I am not
Well,
a
then to me that
hippie.
just says you're a
I
piece
am
of
not
shit
a
human,
hippie.
and you don't care about other people.
Joel,
So
you are
good for
woke as
you.
fuck. You are
No, I'm
literally
not
woke
woke.
as fuck. Yeah, you
Woke
are.
is fake
You're
awake.
woke.
Nope.
You are
Woke is
woke
fake
as
awake. I'm
fuck.
awake. Woke.
You
You don't
are
call me woke.
woke.
That's an insult.
Oh, well, why can't you care about the starving kids in China? How many nickels did you put in that box?
Well, that's funny that you say that because I have half Chinese children. So,
Oh,
do
now
do
you
what
want to
you
make it
want.
personal?
Do
No,
what you
they're
want.
not in
No,
China.
I'm
They're
just
with you. See,
right. They're not in
they're
China.
not in China. I literally said starving children is China in China, and it
Why
was a
didn't you
joke.
say starving
Now you
children
want
in
to make it all
Africa?
personal.
Why didn't you
This
say
is
starving
a
children in Africa?
weak
You're black, Stanley.
argument.
Why are you going to the starving
This
children in
is a
China?
weak argument, and you know it.
Yours is a weak
Don't
argument, and
worry
you
about
know it.
shit you can't
You know it,
control.
Stanley.
Don't worry
It's
about
okay.
shit you can't
I can't see
control.
the chat right now, but I know they're on my team. I know they're on my side right now, cheering me along.
You're on
Because
Team
you're
Woke.
being retarded.
You are on Team Woke.
Nope. Team Woke is Alexandria.
Team Woke is
AOC.
where
No,
why don't you
nope.
care
I'm
about
not woke.
Margaret Sanger and
Woke is
learning more
dumb
about
Democrat rhetoric.
babies?
Nope. Nope. Mm-mm.
You are woke.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm awake.
Well,
You're
it is
woke.
my opinion.
You're woke, Stanley.
You know what? No, you are so woke, and I love you for it. You are a sweet, woke hippie.
That's hilarious.
Well, I think it is.
So you wouldn't be calling me a
But see,
sweet
you
woke
said it's
hippie
hilarious. You
if I
didn't
was
say I
just
was
talking
wrong.
about
You did
Donald
not
Trump
say I was wrong.
and Republican and being Republican, right? Then what would you
I
say?
think you are a woke right Republican.
Okay, whatever.
Hey, I didn't bring up Margaret Sanger and babies and black babies and
I
look,
didn't bring up Margaret Singer either, but you did.
you need to control what you can control, and there's nothing wrong with maybe going a little bit farther too, but you got to be able to fix it.
Daniel,
Okay, do not try
if
to
you
fix problems.
if you can
Do
only
not
control
try
what
to
you can
fix
control
problems
already, we can't
you
change
can't
the
fix.
world. We can't make it a better place.
I don't give a
Like
shit,
so.
dude. Why are we talking about the world?
Oh
Woke.
my
You
God.
you are
So you
woke.
you
You are
really
a
don't care
woke
about other
rogue.
people. You don't really care about other people.
Not if I don't know him. I mean, I have general like Jesus, we should care about humanity, but I don't know humanity. I know the people I know.
Jesus would be flipping your fucking table right now, Stanley. Jesus
Oh,
cared about all
you don't.
people. So
Do
you want
you
to
really
act
want?
like
Wait,
caring
hold
about
it.
all
Do
of
you
humanity
really
is a
want to go
wrong,
there?
bad thing. Yeah, sure,
I
let's go
know
there.
there are people in this chat who would be offended with my response. Therefore, I shall not respond.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you're scared of what people are going to
I
say.
think Jesus will be okay with my attitude. I'm not Jesus, by the way. I can't save humanity. Jesus does not expect Stanley to save the world. Jesus wants Stanley to control what he can control, raise a good child, be kind to strangers, make sure that his family's taken care of. Jesus don't want me to save the world, Joel. He knows I can't.
Okay. He already knows you can't, so there
Wait,
it is.
hold it. You don't think Jesus knows Stanley is versus the world, and that's kind of a joke too? Stanley can't
Sure.
save the world. Do you
Sure.
think Stanley? Well, wait, hold it. Do you think Stanley could save the world?
I think that Jesus knows who his warriors are
think
and
Stanley
who is
Stanley is
working
not
to
Jesus.
change the world. Yes,
Stanley is
we
not
aren't
Jesus.
supposed to stand for the bullshit.
We
No, and
are
just you
not
want to act like,
supposed to
oh,
save
I
the
can't
world.
help and just throw my hands up and not do anything. That's Stanley.
What are you gonna do
I can
about
only help the
what are you
people that I
what are
can
you
help.
doing? What are you doing about the Uyghurs in China?
I mean, I've shared as much
Not a
about them as that I
goddamn thing.
can.
All you're doing is I hope they're okay.
Awareness matters.
All
Awareness
you're
is
doing,
key. If
awareness
people
is
don't
not
know about it, then they
awareness of
can't
a
help.
problem is not fixing a problem.
And why do you care about the Uyghurs in China?
Hey, I'm
You're
just
just talking
testing
about
I'm
Jesus.
Jesus theory. You think I'm
Huh?
Jesus, apparently?
No, I don't think you're Jesus. I'm just saying. We know the Uyghurs in China, they're Muslim, and I do care about them. I've shared a lot about them for
Well,
10 years,
Jewel,
20 years probably. They've been
Jewel,
really fucked over, and a lot of them
Jewel,
have been killed. It's not good.
Jewel.
What?
I
What?
care about them as much as I can, but they don't come up in my day-to-day cooking dinner life.
Why'd you bring that? That has nothing to do with cooking. Why'd you bring them
Of course
up?
it has
Just
nothing
like
to
you
do
want
with
to say
cooking.
that.
Of course, wait, hold it. You just proved my point. Of course they have nothing to do with me cooking. There's nothing I can do for them.
Yes, there is. You can at least share what you know about what's going on so that there's awareness,
What's
so that
going
that
on?
can help
What
create
is
the change.
what is going
You,
on?
you have to know there's a problem
Okay,
before you
this
can
is
fix
such
it.
hippie
So,
bullshit.
no,
This
it's
is
not hippie
hippieism.
bullshit. It's like,
This
it's
is
logic.
woke.
It's
This is
logic,
woke
Stanley. You have
hippieism.
to know there's a
It is
problem
not
before you can
logic.
fix it.
Logic is you can't fix what you don't know
And there's
about.
a Bible quote about that. I think it's
Logic
in
is
Jeremiah
you
somewhere.
can't fix what you fix. It can't fix. I can't fix shit in China.
But
Stop
nobody
it.
can fix
Stop
anything if
this
you don't know
woke
what's
nonsense.
happening.
Stop this woke
Stop
nonsense.
calling me woke. It pisses me off. I'm
You know
awake.
what? I don't really care.
You can call me awake.
I never
Stop this
thought
awake
I would be.
bullshit. That's
I'm
fine.
more right wing than Jewel.
Really?
Yes. You're
I don't
woke.
care what wing. I don't
I'm
care
not
what wing
woke.
you want to put me
I'm not
on.
woke.
I'm a human that cares about other humans. That's what it
All
boils down
humans should
to.
care about
I'm a
other humans.
humanitarian.
But you think metaphysics is actual fixing shit. That you
When did you bring
care
up metaphysics?
is not a metaphysics is metaphysics. Metaphysics does not fix problems.
Nobody said it did, Stanley.
Well, I just said you are a woke metaphysicist.
Awareness fixes problems.
No, awareness does not fix problems, ma'am.
It leads to fixing problems. You
It
have to know a
can,
problem
but
exists before you can fix
It
it.
can.
Like when we
Okay, see, this is what people do. They make a point and then they babble on and don't want to hear the critique.
for like 3 whole seconds they got
Awareness
to
is
babble on.
not. Awareness doesn't turn a screwdriver. Maybe it can. It can let people know that a screwdriver needs to be turned. But just because you're aware of something, that doesn't fix problems. Stop the bullshit.
You know what it leads to. You know what I'm saying. You're just trying to make a point.
How
It's
many
so stupid.
endangered species do you support?
How many endangered species do I support?
Polar bears. Do you care about polar bears too?
Of course I care about polar bears.
You do.
But I care. Look, ultimately, we got to fix
then,
human problems.
You know what?
We got to fix human problems first.
Oh, Jewel.
If you want me to care about sea life, I'm going to be with the dolphins and the whales first. That's it.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to have to accept that you are my woke friend. You are
so not woke. Quit calling me. Stanley, you're the woke person. You're the woke person, Stanley. That's your side. Your people use the word woke. I never use woke. Never. Babe, am I woke? See, he said no.
See, you are John Galt.
Okay.
See, you don't. Y'all just
call me John Galt.
Y'all just don't know. If you cannot help a person, if you don't know the person, being aware that there's suffering in the world is not stop that stuff. That's why people go crazy. That's why people fix what you can.
No, you act like, but
hey,
look,
it's called
you're acting
pragmatism
like
there. It's called
what's around
pragmatism
in my
there.
life is what's
It's
in my
called
little
living
sphere.
a real
I'll
life,
help
dear.
these people, so you don't give a fuck about anybody else.
Living a life, dear. You fix.
No, you don't really care about anybody, Stanley. That's
I do
what
not.
it boils down
I
to.
care about the people I know. I care about you. I kind of know you. I do care about you.
Thank you, Stanley. I care about you too. But to only care about the people that you know, it's kind of basic. You're a human. Why don't you care about all other humans?
I care about the humans I know and can help. Even if I don't know you, if I can help you, if some person is on the side of the road, I'll help you fix your tire. I'll help you put snow chains on your tires. I'll help you like dig your car out of a snowbank. But if I'm not there, What people need to do is understand that we are only human and fix what you can and don't stress over what you cannot fix. To me, it seems simple. I'm not going to worry about people in China. I've never been to China.
Then why did you bring up the Uyghurs?
Oh, because you think I'm Jesus.
I didn't ever say I thought you were Jesus.
No,
Oh my God,
what you want is miracles.
You're right. I do. I have a utopian view
Good luck.
of how we
Good
should
luck
have
with that theory.
our
Good
world.
luck with
It's
the good
because
luck.
I have the mentality of just what heaven's supposed to be like, I guess.
You
That's
know what?
why I am not made
All I
for this
have to
place.
say
I'm not
is
made for this world.
wait till you get to heaven and then worry about heaven. You're not there yet.
You don't have to worry when you're there, Stanley.
When you're
There's
there,
no worry.
you're there, but you're not there yet. And fix what you can fix, but stop worrying about what you can't fix.
I get you philosophically, and it's funny that you want to call me woke because that's a pretty woke thing to say because it's like it gives the essence of caring without fucking caring and without wanting to do anything for anybody else. And that's where I take issue because I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. I don't know how to help everybody, but I have the heart to want to try. I have the heart to want to help. And that's the difference. And if we all want to help each other and care about each other, that is like monumental. We can be different, but if we care about each other,
I
we
think
can change a
part
lot.
of the
We can change
reason
a lot.
part of the reason that people don't do better is that they worry about shit they can't fix to a point to where they forget to fix what they can. This is ridiculous.
Stanley, most people aren't what you're talking about though. Like right now, and that's
You know
where I'm
what?
talking about. A lot of people are
Most people
selfish and they
can't.
don't give a fuck about anybody else. They don't care about healing nothing. They don't give a fuck. That's it. So that's what I'm talking
Well, are
about.
you
Those
saying
people,
they
they
should?
don't care.
Are you saying they should give a fuck?
At least about themselves and their family. Like they don't give a fuck to the
Well,
point like
see,
where you
that
do
I
about
literally
your
just
family
said
and
that.
needing to know each
I
other.
literally just said that. Fix
Fine.
yourself, your family, fix the things you can fix, and stop worrying about what you can't. I literally said that.
So, but some people aren't there. So how do you get those
Okay, I have
people
no idea. Some
to
people
care
aren't
about that?
there. Okay, is some people aren't there actually an argument?
It is. There's a
Okay,
lot of
well,
people that aren't there.
help me,
There's a
help
lot of people
me,
that are
help me
chasing bullshit
understand.
dreams and being rich off of being a
Help me
rapper
understand
instead of
dreams.
caring about
Help
their
me
family and
understand.
taking care of their
Help me
babies.
help me understand about the people that aren't there.
Oh my God.
You literally said that.
I know I did, but it's like I have to explain it to you. I bet the
Yes,
chat's
you
laughing
do.
right now.
I last time I checked, people who aren't there.
And those are the people that need the help, Stanley. That's what I'm
I
saying.
can't help
How
people.
do you get through to
How do
people?
you how do you help someone who's not there?
Exactly. Like, how do you get through to them? A
No, no,
white
no,
woman
no,
isn't
no.
like a white
How
woman
do
like me isn't
you
going to get through
how
to
do
some of
you
these
how do
people.
you
You
help
need a black man to get through to
materially?
some of these people.
How do you help materially someone who's not there?
Education,
Are you sure the
support,
people that aren't there actually exist?
learning.
How do you know
What?
they're not figments of your imagination?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Because one of them is my brother-in-law. That's
Well,
how.
he is there.
There's a
You
lot
know
of
him.
little
He's
dumb fucks.
okay. See,
Yeah.
you are literally, dude. Oh, Jewel, struggle
What?
harder. Struggle harder.
I'm not struggling at all. I'm chill. Very nice.
I think you're
Happy.
struggling. I think you're struggling to make sense of
Okay.
this. This is ridiculous. The
Stanley,
bottom
you're the
line.
one that denies that there's this
No,
other
don't tell
whole
me who I am.
community
I
that's
know who
happening.
I am.
No, you say
I
that like
know
because you're
that
from the
I fix
country and you
problems
went
I
to
can
private
fix.
school and all of this stuff
Okay,
that
all of a
you're a
sudden it's
different
about me
class
and my
of a black
private school.
person
All
than
of
the
a
black
sudden it's
people
about me and
that
my
are in
private
different
school. Okay,
situations.
well, make it personal, why don't you? What does my private
Well,
school have to do with this argument?
hey, you're saying because you're saying like that's not my problem. I don't know about that.
So
That's why.
you think I learned that in private school?
Oh, fuck's sake. I was citing that as part of your
Okay, you're citing
privilege. That's your part of your black privilege,
you
Stanley,
are
to not
literally
recognize
okay.
people
All
that
I have
aren't
okay.
privileged.
This is a struggle argument you're making.
It's
You are grasping at straws because
okay.
you can't defend your woke hippie argument.
Jesus Christ.
What does where I went to high school or
I
any
was
school
speaking
have
to
to
your
do?
privilege. I was speaking to your privilege
How do you
about
know
how
I'm
you can
privileged?
say
Oh,
that you
you're
don't
speaking to
care
my
about
privilege?
other people.
Do you
Oh, I
know?
wasn't
Do you
dealing with that.
know?
I don't know these
So you
people,
are
so they
speaking
aren't
to
my
my
problem.
privilege?
I
Speak to
only care about people that I know. That's what you said. I only care
yes,
about people,
I
right? I
stand by.
only
I
care about
care.
people that I know. There's a whole bunch
Yes,
of fucking other people out
yes,
there that have
yes.
problems
But
that
see,
need
you
help.
also
So
see
who's
you
gonna
just
help them? Who's gonna help them? They need stable. They need
what else
stable,
did I
good
say? What
role
else did I
models
say?
to help them.
You only heard part of what I said, and you can't repeat the other part.
Jesus Christ! You only heard
I'm
part of
not
what I
Jesus
said
Christ,
too.
ma'am.
You only heard part of what I said too. So there
What
you
I
go.
heard is you want to talk about my privilege in private school. That's not an argument.
Stanley, you said I only care about people that I know.
Yes, I
Okay?
said it and I meant it. Do you need me to say it again?
And that comes from your privilege of wherever you come
It
from
couldn't come.
to
So,
not care about other
okay, see,
people. When you say that, you're saying I don't care about all those other people.
okay,
Who you know in the United States is
Jewel,
very
let me
tiny.
know when you're done so I can just bat away this foolish
Sure.
argument. So
Who you know is very little
you
compared to the
think
rest of the world or the rest of the
okay,
United States,
I
even
don't
Stanley.
Jewel,
Yeah, so you don't give a fuck about
you have
anybody.
delusions.
That's my takeaway. You don't give a fuck. Look, I'm a
You have
humanitarian,
delusions.
Stanley. You don't give a
You
fuck.
no, I don't.
Okay. Well, I do.
So
That's the difference. That's
let me
it.
know when I can speak
We'll
now.
just understand
Let
that.
me know when I
I
can
will
speak.
let. Sure,
Let me
go
know
ahead,
when I can
Stanley.
speak.
I just
You
find
have
it a privilege to let you know when you can speak on your stream. Go ahead.
you have delusions of grandeur.
No, I
You
don't.
can you think you can save the world? You're old enough to know that you can't. You
I don't think
save
I can myself can. No, I absolutely
hey,
don't.
I'm
But I
not
think that
talking
we
about
all
the
need to work
world. You are.
together. We all
You
need to
are
work
talking about the
together.
world.
We all need to work together, Stanley.
No, we
I
don't.
don't have delusions of
No, we
grandeur.
don't.
No.
No, we
Yes,
do
we
not
do.
all need to work
As
together.
brothers and sisters of humanity, we all need to work together.
Motherfucker,
Yes,
I
we do.
know who my brothers and sisters are. Many people don't, apparently. But
Well,
I do.
yeah. It's funny that you think you do, but then you act like you don't give a fuck about anybody else.
I don't
Really?
act. I literally don't. I said it. I meant it. See, you can't figure out why someone who's center left, I fix what I can. I might go a little farther and fix what I might be able to fix. But no, I don't want to save the world because I can't.
What are you
He wants to
fixing?
save
But
the
you're
world.
not going anywhere
I
to save
am not
anybody.
Jesus. You are not Jesus. No one we know is Jesus. You are literally a woke hippie.
I never said I was Jesus. Did I ever claim to
Neither
be
did
Jesus?
I, ma'am. Neither did
Did I
I.
ever claim to be Muhammad? Did I ever
See,
claim to
look
be
at
any spiritual person?
look
No.
at you avoiding my
Nope.
argument. You want to concentrate on Jesus.
That's
You
what you were
can't
bringing
save the
up.
world.
You are
My
hilarious.
best advice is fix what you can. Go a little farther if you're inclined to, but only fix what you can and stop worrying about China.
I wasn't worrying about China. You brought up China. I was worrying about Americans.
Stop trying to save Americans. How many Americans do you know? Do you know all Americans?
But you were right, Stanley.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I have
Keep
no
going. It's
doubt.
so funny.
I have no doubt that you can't save everybody in America, but you can fix, save whatever you need to do within your little local community, family, local. Stop trying to save Oregon, or they'll take care of themselves. They're smart.
Wouldn't that be great if everyone was doing that? That'd be
I
awesome.
think it's happening, and you should stop worrying about whether it's happening. It is happening.
You think so?
I know so.
So show me examples. Show me some
In 8
examples.
ways, you don't know the stats either. I will make you cry if we started dealing with stats. You don't know them either, Innate. And the best thing about stats is stats mean nothing without a narrative. There's not a motherfucker that I've run into in this John Galt, be brave. Y'all don't understand statistics. You just fucking quote them without actually understanding them. This is why Be Brave has a big, dumb audience. Be Brave literally is innumerate and illiterate.
Stanley, I think sometimes you get into your ego and you just keep popping off.
I do get into my ego. You want to know?
Innate
You want to
knows
know
his
why?
numbers,
Though?
and I'm sure he knows his
Okay,
statistics,
ma'am,
just like I do.
stop droning
No.
on.
I'm
I
not
have
really. I've been droning
high
on for 5
confidence.
seconds,
I
dude.
have high confidence that I understand my arguments. Y'all want
You want to talk about
No, I'm
statistics,
not
but
gonna.
you won't look
Why
at the
would I
FBI
get
data
into
tables for
statistics
murders.
with you?
It's so fucking stupid. I can't believe you want to say
Ma'am,
people don't know numbers and
believe
people
what
don't
I
know
said.
statistics, but you won't go look at per
Why
capita
am I
murder
going to cast
statistics in the
pearls
black
to
community.
swine?
You won't look at that.
I'm not casting
Jesus.
statistical
Nope.
pearls to
That's what
obnoxious
I'm doing
swine.
right now. I don't even know why
Well, then
I'm
put
on
the
like
link
I
in the
came
back.
on.
Do it right now. Put the link in the back so I can teach you about your own arguments.
I'll give it to you later. I'm not trying to split my screen
We'll
right
give
now.
it to you later.
I actually asked Nate last night to give.
You're not looking
After
at
I left
statistics
your
either.
panel last night, I asked Nate if he could hey, give Stanley this link,
And
and he was
Nate's
like,
not a
sad face.
motherfucking mathematician. You went to
No, but
Innate
he's an
instead of going to
admin.
an X.
He's an admin in the channel, so it will be a hyperlink as opposed to me not having a hyperlink. That's why it's hyperlink. That's all it fucking was. It's about the hyperlink.
An expert.
Anyway, you can look it up.
Stop thinking you're not an expert either.
More than you, Stanley. Go. All you have to do is type in FBI statistics for murder rate, and you can find it. Yeah.
Hey,
Go look it up. You're afraid to look it up. I've looked it up plenty.
I'm not afraid.
Go look it up yourself.
You don't think I have?
I don't think you have, because you always argue against all of the data that's actually there.
Look, I'm not going to argue statistics with idiots. Y'all
Why
don't
don't
know.
you care about black people killing each other?
You literally don't know math. Innate does not know
I
math.
absolutely
Be
do
Brave
know
does
math.
not know math. There's not a motherfucker that I talk
Stanley,
to in this space who
I
has
was
a
a
clue.
biochem major, and
Y'all
I was
don't
very
know
good in
shit.
math to
That's
be a
why I'm not.
biochemist. That's
I
what the
am
fuck
not.
I was doing.
See, y'all,
No,
your your whiteness
no,
is offended.
no. It's just funny that you want to tell
I
me I don't know.
literally
I
think
do more
hey,
math. I've done more math in
you
my
wanna
life than
talk
a lot
about,
of people.
but not
So,
me. A lot of people, but not me.
not you.
You go from, oh, Stanley, your private school education, to telling me I don't know shit. Which is it,
I
man?
didn't say you didn't know shit. I'm just saying
I
you
know
think
more
you're
than
smarter
you.
than
I know
everybody
more
else.
than you
You probably
about
don't.
math. Damn for sure. I know more
Nope.
than Innate about math. Dude,
Okay,
I have
then let us
confidence
give
in
you
my
the
abilities.
table.
I
You
know
can
my
see the
shit. I
data,
know
and you can
my shit.
analyze the data, and then
Your
you can tell us
little
what you think.
fragile white ego is hurt, and a lot of
No,
people get hurt. And you know,
I'm
let me
not
give
hurt.
you a
I
good
feel great,
example. Let me
Stanley. I
give
feel
you,
fucking awesome.
I don't give a fuck about all that. You're not a mathematician, and neither am I. However, let me bring up a weird point. I started saying that white people ain't shit. Asians are smarter. And who is the first person who wanted to fuck with me on that? But John Galt and HB. I know I'm right. I don't need
So you're
John
saying my kids
Galt
are
or Joe.
smarter.
I don't need a Nate
My kids
Wade.
are
I don't get.
smarter. That's what
See,
you're saying. That's
which
great.
part?
They are.
No,
They're
no, no,
probably
no,
are.
no. I didn't say I was smarter. I said I know more.
No, I said my kids because they're half Asian.
Okay, I don't give a fuck about
So
your
you're
kids or
saying my
anything.
kids
What
are
you know
smarter.
what?
That's fine.
Half Asian has nothing to do with my point. It's not a racial point.
You're talking.
See,
You just said
you
Asian
don't
people
know
are
what the
smarter.
hell. See,
You
you
just
think
said
it's all
Asian people
racial
are
and
smart.
shit.
Stanley, I was
Jewel,
joking mostly.
Jewel,
So I'm fucking with you,
Jewel,
Stanley.
Jewel,
Fucking with you,
Jewel.
Stanley.
Okay, you think I'm making a racial argument because you don't understand my argument.
Oh,
You think it's
okay.
all racial and
Please
shit.
explain it to
You
me.
are a lover of statistics. Asians do better in a bunch of categories than white people. Statistics, Jewel, statistics. Statistics ain't race. White people are second best. It's not a white country. It's going to be an Asian country real quick.
Oh,
Tell me I'm wrong.
hey. I mean, you say IQ isn't a
This is
thing, but then
going
you
to
want to talk
be
about
an
being people
Asian.
being
See,
are
you
smarter
can't
or
tell
not
me I'm
smarter.
wrong.
You don't want
That's
to
why
know my IQ, Stanley. You don't want to fucking
I
know
don't give
what
a
the fuck
fuck
my
about
IQ
your
is last
IQ.
time.
Why would
Right,
I
but
care about
Asians
your
can be
IQ?
smarter because you want.
Oh no,
Why do you
that
want
is
to?
a
Why do you want to
typical
slam black
white
people on
bullshit
IQ?
point.
It's over
I'm
160 is
white.
what I'm
Do
saying.
you know
Why
my
do you want to
IQ?
slam? Why
Do
do you want
you
to
know
slam
my
people
IQ?
about their
I'm
smarts?
right.
That has nothing
I'm
fucking to
right.
do with it.
I'm
It's
right.
about the heart. It's
What?
about your
Who
heart, and
wants
it's
to
about if
know
you
my
fucking care about other
IQ?
people. But
My
now you want to talk
IQ.
about
Your
Asians being
IQ
smarter
is
than black
white.
people.
Your IQ is white. That's your IQ. It's white,
That's not a thing.
isn't it?
No, it's not.
If you say so.
There's a lot of dumb white
Asians.
people, Stanley.
There are a lot of dumb Asians. However,
Sure.
Asians do better than white people, and Vivek Ramaswamy hurt a bunch of white feelings.
Oh, why are you bringing him up? Why are we trying to go there,
Well,
Stanley?
because he said America worships mediocrity, and I agree with him.
Well, I mean, did you see? Did you see when he gave a speech? It was exactly an Obama speech. He's a little puppet, so it's You know, I don't like him.
Of course, you want to talk about a speech.
When it was
Vivek
copying somebody else
Vivek
100%.
Ramaswamy,
Yeah.
pretty much presaged where America's gonna go. Asians are smarter. Stay tuned, folks.
Okay. He's not anything, so I don't know. I don't know why you want to go with that because
Because I think it's funny, and I think it's a good point to bring up when you want to talk about your IQ.
it's not about me. You were talking about people being. You're saying Asians are smarter than white people or black people.
I did not bring
That's
up
where
your
it
IQ.
started.
You did. You brought up IQ. Did
I brought
bring
up
your
IQ in response to you talking to people about being smarter or not.
Jewel,
Stanley.
IQ is not.
And you want to call
IQ
me
is not
stupid, and
smart.
you want to call
See,
me
this is
woke.
the ridiculous
I'm not woke.
whiteness that you
Woke people are
by
really
hook,
fucking
blood,
stupid.
you
Woke
think
people are
IQ
stupid.
is smart. You think IQ is smart?
In general, it depends on what the number is.
In general, all of a sudden you're talking in general.
What you're saying? If you think IQ is smart, that's a dumb fucking question, Stanley. You need to rephrase your question. Rephrase your.
Let me
Do you
make a
think IQ is smart?
Let me
No,
make a
because
statement.
you can have
and
an
this is
80
gonna-
IQ and be a
this is
fucking
going to
retard.
This is going to piss you off. IQ is the refuge of mediocre whiteness.
No, dumb people don't want to acknowledge IQ. That's what it boils down to.
Dumb people have high IQs. I meet them all the time.
Sure, I guess. When? Who's the last one you met?
Dude, I was in the Navy. I was.
How IQ was that? What was their IQ?
You're doing. Hey, you're doing.
What was it?
Doing a solid snake. You ask a question and you won't let me answer it. You want me to answer the question?
Yes, please.
I was in the Navy. I've met plenty of smart people with high IQs who are fucking dumb. IQ.
What's high to you? 120?
Okay, all I have to say, if I may finish, is I've met plenty of people who would probably score high on an IQ test and couldn't fucking command men. They could not lead men. They could not accomplish missions. This white stupidity about high IQ and smartness is white mediocrity. I've experienced it in your U.S. Navy.
So you're done?
No,
I wasn't there. I don't know.
I think you're. Well, you're. See, you weren't there.
You're saying they're high IQ.
Okay,
I don't fucking know what their
I
IQ
what
was.
I said.
And what are you defining as
Drone
high
on.
IQ? What is that?
IQ is an ass of an argument. It has nothing to do with being smart, is what I'm saying. Deal with it.
I think that there are multiple factors, and that's just one. I'm not saying it's the entire thing. Because emotional intelligence matters.
You brought up IQ, and I
You
just
brought up people being fucking smart. You brought up people being smart, Stanley. You brought up people being smart. You said Asians are more smart than white people or Americans. You brought up people being smart, and what's the measurement of that? I spoke to the measurement of what you talked to of people being smart.
IQ
so what's yours? Like 80?
IQ, see, you want to keep talking, and IQ is the refuge of white mediocrity. I said it. Defend it.
Nope. Well, go ahead. You can say whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't mean it's true.
I did just say what the fuck I wanted. Thank you, ma'am.
I know you did.
Confirmation.
That's fine.
So
that's fine. Look, a golf ball size consciousness can only understand golf ball size ideas. That's it. That's what it
Yeah,
boils down
Jewel,
to. Yeah.
Jewel. Depend on IQ all you want. IQ, most people don't even understand what IQ is. IQ means
You were
nothing.
talking about Asians being smarter.
They
Okay.
are
And then I
statistically.
brought
See, now
and
you
I brought
wanted to
up
talk statistics.
IQ.
See, now we're gonna get somewhere.
Oh, now you want to talk statistics.
Statistically,
Oh my God, it's amazing.
statistically, oh, I can't finish now, can I? Asians make, and you know what? You want to talk about per capita? This is literally a per capita argument. Asians do better income, education. There are more students, Asian students, at a lot of major universities, especially the engineering schools. Where's that white IQ when you need it? IQ means nothing.
Where's the Asian IQ? Where's the black IQ? If you want to talk about white IQ, why are you talking about anybody else's IQ?
Hold on. Let's
You want to
concentrate
say
on what you just said.
it's funny how you want to separate. You
All
want
of
to
a sudden,
separate
it's a black. See,
intelligence
I knew
from
you. Not
IQ.
only.
That's what you're doing,
Wait,
Stanley.
hold
It's
it.
stupid.
Hold it.
You're
I was talking
separating that.
about.
It's dumb. It's dumb.
Oh,
It's so
you
dumb.
stepped right into my trap. I'm
Oh, okay.
talking IQ. I'm talking Asians doing better than whites, and all of a sudden you say, "Where's the black IQ?" We weren't talking about black
I didn't
IQ.
say anything
Oh
about
yeah,
black
you did,
IQ.
dude. Oh, I'm
Fuck
gonna go
sake.
back and I'm gonna go back
Good.
and run this just
Make
for
it
the
a
fun of it.
short.
You
Do
brought
it.
black IQ into it. Now you're a racist too?
Put up
We
the
weren't
Asian
talking. We
IQ,
weren't talking
Stanley.
about black
Put up
people.
the Asian IQ. Go
Did
into the
you bring
Asian
up black?
IQ, then, Stanley.
You know what?
Do that.
Did
I
you?
brought up
Did you?
everybody's IQ. That's what I'm saying.
Ma'am. You
What's the
brought up
Asian
black
IQ, Stanley?
IQ. Hey, who introduced black IQ into this conversation? Me or you?
Oh,
Who brought it into it? Me or you? It's a simple question.
but you say that IQ doesn't matter and it doesn't exist. So
I love
let's
it.
keep going.
You can't.
You do.
You know
do
what
that
happens
shit.
when you
That's
answer
what I'm
the question?
saying.
See, you
There's
literally
a whole spectrum of
can't
black
answer.
IQ, just like there's a
I'm
whole
going to
spectrum of
go
white
back now.
IQ and
Who
Asian
brought up?
IQ.
Who brought up? See, this is what I do. You bring up IQ, and I
Stanley.
just. What do you want me to tell you what I did? I can. Look.
Yeah, go back. Go
Look.
ahead and go back. There's
You
stupid
bring up.
people in every
You bring
race,
up
and there's smart
IQ.
people of every
You.
race. You want to act
You're
like
doing a
statistics
solid
doesn't
snake
matter.
here.
And
Hey, solid
before
snake.
you said
Hey, solid
you've
snake.
never cared
What
about
you
IQ,
did?
but now you're going to care about
So
IQ. So do it.
lazy. So
Do it.
lazy.
No, it's not lazy.
You bring up
You're lazy.
IQ, and then I start toying with your notions of IQ, and then I start talking about Asians and whites, and you want to bring up blacks. Thank you. Be brave.
Jesus Christ, Stanley.
Jesus ain't gonna save you.
That's hilarious. I'm not
it's
saying black
hilarious
people.
because
I never said
who
all
was
black
talking
people are
about?
stupid.
Who was
I never
talking
said all
about?
black people have low IQ. I was bringing
All
up
of a sudden, black
all
people are
IQ.
here
You
because you couldn't
before
defend
you
white
wouldn't even
people.
acknowledge
White people
IQ.
are
You
second
said
guessing. Let's talk
IQ
about the
isn't a thing.
facts.
Stanley, before you said IQ wasn't a thing, so thank you for recognizing that IQ is actually a thing.
Jewel,
Before you would say it wasn't a thing.
Your high IQ is nothing because you don't understand arguments. You don't understand.
I understand arguments.
No, you do not. You literally.
No, you can't understand somebody arguing with you. That's the problem.
You are a deer in the headlights.
Right. That's why I'm sitting here chilling.
I didn't bring up IQ. I didn't bring up black IQ. You did.
No, but you brought up intelligence.
Oh, no. I didn't bring up intelligence either.
You did. Yes, you
No,
did.
I did not. I
Absolutely,
just
you
said I
did.
know. Hey,
You talked about people being
all I
smarter than other
said,
people. That's intelligence.
I
And then that
know
relates to
more
IQ, but
than
you want to act
you.
like it doesn't. Oh,
No,
sure,
I want
sure.
to act
You
like.
know more than me.
Let
Go
me
ahead,
bring it back to
Stanley.
what I said, and let's reset this argument. I know more than you. I know more than pretty much anybody in this chat room. I know more. I'm not
Okay.
talking about intelligence.
So your
I'm not
IQ
talking
is
about.
like 200?
Wait, hold it. I said I know more. I didn't bring up IQ. I said I know more.
Hmm.
You don't think I do?
It depends on what you're talking about. Because
You know
I
what I'm
might know
talking
more
about?
than you on a particular subject, and you might know more than me on some other subject.
I know
So
more
how are
than
you going to
you.
measure that?
I will make a
Stanley?
broad spectrum argument. I know more than you.
I doubt it.
Okay,
Because
well,
I'm willing to look at the truth.
hey, I
I care
have
about what's
no
happening.
interest.
You are
I have
closed-minded, and you
have
will stick
no
to
clue what's happening.
your
You still
band
think
of what you think
IQ.
is true. You don't think that the 94 crime bill and prison for profits and then gangsterfying rap music
No,
are
I
related.
will see.
You don't,
You're
and
not
they
smart
fucking
enough
are.
to
So that
understand my
shows how
argument,
stupid you are, that
ma'am.
you
It is
can't see that these
literally not.
people at the top control shit and that they manipulate stuff. You act like everything's
Let me know
separate
when I
and
can respond
nothing.
to your very
I'll
rebellious
let you
argument.
know. Yeah.
Okay,
So
well, you know what? I'll let you
that
know
shit
before me.
happens, Stanley.
You've droned on too long.
Oh,
The
okay.
94 crime
I'll mute
bill
myself.
means the 94 crime bill means nothing. You're trying to build an argument and it keeps tumbling down Jack and Jill's hill, and you've been
Stanley.
struggling ever since.
No, because what that did was that it made
It
it a
means
bigger
nothing.
crime to have.
It
You
did
could
it
have a
and we
tiny couple
reacted
little
to it.
rocks of crack cocaine
Old, tired,
and get
fucking
20
bullshit
years in
argument.
prison, and then somebody else can have a whole bunch of coke that's not crack, way more kilos, and they'll maybe get 1 or 2 years, if that. I'm saying there was a disparity that happened. And those things worked together. And the people who instigated those things and planned those things and put them into place, they had a plan and they were all working together. And you want to act like, oh no, they're all separate and they didn't affect each other and they didn't affect the outcome of what's happened to people.
Do
But they
you want to
did.
know? Let me know when I can speak, ma'am.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Bullshit, it means nothing. Your argument is literally a bowl of oatmeal. I'm done.
That's all you had to say. What I had to say is a bowl of oatmeal.
I literally think it is a bowl of oatmeal.
Okay.
You
Well, I'm
spoon,
gonna go
you
to bed
spoon,
then.
you,
I'm done.
you might need
Peace out.
to do that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
spoon feed that oatmeal to all the people that are willing to take a spoonful. Yet those of us who can actually understand what the 94 crime bill did and didn't do, we will drone on. Your arguments are honestly, and I'm actually being good faith, they mean nothing. You literally want to go back to
Right.
something that doesn't matter.
Okay. Congratulations. All that's saying is that you're in denial and that you don't care. So that's fine. You
Okay.
do you,
You
Stanley.
know, I will always do me, ma'am.
Okay. Congratulations. I am gonna go to bed though.
All right.
So
Well,
good night. Love you. Good night. Love all the
take it easy.
chat. Okay. Peace out, everyone.
All right. Well, one down. Who else wants to bring up piecemeal arguments? Who wants to talk about the 94 crime bill in 2025? It was an amazing discussion. There's a link here. Now, she could have done better. The 94 crime bill actually has had effects, but she obviously didn't know what they were. She still wants to talk about crack cocaine. So, and she is a dear woman. I think a great woman. But you know what? You gotta know your arguments. You gotta know where they lead to, gotta know what they mean. And literally, she took a page from Solid Snake's book. So let's see. Where do we go? I don't know. This show is gonna be short. Um, let's see. Solid Snake. Solid Snake. Try what? I don't give a fuck. Hit the link and tell me what to look at. Solid Snake. Are you gonna be cowardly too? Be right back, folks.
This really helps the plant when you're not around. You have water like a reservoir, and it can sit. So when you can't get to it, it will save you. And that's what happened on a lot of them. And the ones who didn't have it, you can tell they were struggling.
Oh, lost. Oh, what up, Stanley? Can you hear me?
Hold on one sec. I'll be right back.
Hope you can. All right, y'all. I'm not gonna be able to film the whole thing because my camera will get hot and I'll run out of time on my phone. So I'll show you how everything looks later. So far, y'all, this is what it's looking like. All up there on the patio. And then we got to get this one out. Just kind of showing y'all what it looks like. Y'all can see.
Well, Solid Snake, what kind of silly argument are you gonna bring tonight? As silly as Jewel of Aquarius. Do you want to talk about the 94 crime bill too? Still there? You still there? All right. Well, apparently we have gone beyond his range. Rick, what's up? Solid Snake, if you're trying to talk, I literally can't hear you. So I was hoping Republic Room would. Oh, he left. I was hoping Republic Room would be in here tonight, but yeah, people get busy on Saturday nights, and it is already 10 o'clock Eastern time. Damn.
Feeling like 100. So
We might have
we're getting ready to
to.
bring this thing out, and I don't know. Are we taking this to the patio?
Yes, Jewel, it is exhausting. You got to know your stuff,
Can you
and
hear me?
it might still be exhausting. But I do look. Hold on one sec. Let me pause this. Jewel, I would rather talk to you than almost anyone. You are a sweetheart. So we may go back and forth, but in the end, it's all love, and I mean that. You're a good woman. You're a good person. So we just don't agree on the importance Uyghurs in China.
Yeah, I'm only gonna be here a minute, Stanley. I'm at work right
Good.
now,
Well,
but
do your minute and be done.
oh man, come on, man. But no, that's a clip. That was a video from the Defiant Lawyers they posted a few hours ago. About that
You know
birthright
what?
citizenship.
Your audio, is it me or is it me or your audio?
It's probably my audio because I got my little Bluetooth headset in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, if I concentrate hard. As a matter of
Oh,
fact, Jewel, come on back up. I'd rather talk to you than Solid Snake for that matter.
Oh man, come on, man. Well, I'm at work right now, but yeah, that was just something I thought you should probably look at. That's all.
What is it? Can you set it up?
That was a clip from a upload from the Defiant Lawyers Network. You know, we were talking about the birthright citizenship that the Supreme Court made that ruling on yesterday.
Okay. Well, no, it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah,
Well, wait,
he's
hold it.
doing a lot of
That's
field mongering in that. I
well,
know.
hold
Saw
on.
that.
You sent me you sent me John Galt's. Maybe I clicked the wrong link. Hold on one sec. Let me make sure I clicked on the right one. Yeah, I must have clicked on the wrong one. Let me see. Were you in my chat or John Galt's chat?
I think I was in John Galt chat.
All right. Well, no, I want to see his take.
Yeah,
And I'm not into the Defiant Lawyer. You watch him?
Yeah.
Interesting. All
Yeah, I
right.
watch him. But
Well, let's do it then.
all right, I'm gonna get back to work though.
Now let me excuse me. Let me tell you something that is odd that you bring it up. I kind of saw his I saw that he put it out and I'm like, I'm not interested in his take on it. So that you're interested in his take on it. All right then. It must be good. Let's watch it. I doubt that he's going to have a take that I agree with, but who knows?
The first king of America. And it also handed him a powerful weapon. And he's already aiming that weapon at the U.S. Constitution. In the case of Trump versus Casa, the court didn't just weaken birthright citizenship. They made it harder for any federal judge to stop, watch this,
Not any
unconstitutional
federal
policies.
judge. Oh, my Lord.
Not legal or constitutional policies, but they made it hard to stop unconstitutional policies from spreading across the entire country. Now, here's what that means. If Trump signs an executive order that violates your rights, my rights, we better pray that we are one of the lucky plaintiffs in a federal lawsuit. Because if not, the courts may not be able to protect us. So I want to break all this down for you so that you can understand what happened, what it means, and why this case should deeply concern, even terrify anyone who still believes in democracy and freedom. Now, here's how it all started. Trump signed Executive Order 14092. Among other things, this order says that children born in the United States to undocumented immigrants, or even people here on temporary visas, those children are not U.S. citizens. He claimed that those children are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. so they don't qualify for birthright citizenship under the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment. Now pause for a second, take a deep breath. That is a direct attack on one of the most important Supreme Court cases in American history. I've covered this case several times in previous videos. It is the case of the United States versus Wong Kim Ark, and it was decided way back in 1898. And it made it very clear, crystal clear, that if a person or child is born on American soil, that child is a citizen, unless the child's parents are foreign diplomats or aliens of a hostile nation. That's it. But Trump ignored that. And several families that were impacted by his executive order sued. And they sued immediately because they had to. That executive order was due to go into effect pretty quickly. So here's what happened next. Several district courts, federal district courts, reviewed Trump's executive order, and they blocked it. And they blocked it with what are called nationwide or universal injunctions. And that means the courts didn't just protect the people who filed the lawsuit, but they stopped the executive order from taking effect anywhere in the country. This is a legal tool used in high-stake cases. It's been used to stop immigration bans, discriminatory policies, and yes, even conservative groups have used it during the Obamas or Biden's presidency. In this case, the appellate court upheld those injunctions. So Trump took his case to the Supreme Court. But here's what's wild, folks. He didn't ask the court to rule on whether his executive order is unconstitutional. Instead, he asked them to rule that nationwide injunctions are unconstitutional. So he avoided the bigger issue on purpose. And that was because he knew that his executive order was likely unconstitutional because of the Wong Kim Ark case. Yet what did the Supreme Court actually decide and not decide in this case? Well, to answer that question, let's go over and read a little bit of the case. So right at the very top, highlighted, it says, the application do not raise, and thus we do not address the question whether the executive order violates the Citizenship Clause or Nationality Act. The issue before us is one of remedy, and that is whether under the Judiciary Act of 1789, federal courts have equitable authority to issue universal injunctions. So what was before the court was that question, whether district courts could issue universal injunctions. And notice she specifically says, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who wrote this opinion, that the question of whether the executive order violates the Citizenship Clause or Nationality Act was not before the court because the Trump administration did not put that in their applications for the injunction. They did not want the court touching that issue. Instead, what they really wanted was for the court to say universal injunctions that were stopping his agenda are unconstitutional. That's what they did. And that's exactly what SCOTUS did. SCOTUS ruled that district courts cannot issue universal injunctions. In other words, if you sue the federal government, the judge can only protect you if what the government is doing still impacts the country. So their opinion will only be relevant to you, not anyone else. The exception to that is if your lawsuit is certified as a class action lawsuit. So basically this means there are no blanket rulings that stop a bad federal, even unconstitutional or illegal policy. Not on a nationwide basis. And this is a major, major shift. Justice Barrett, again, who wrote the majority opinion, she gave 5 reasons for her decision. First, she said universal injunctions didn't exist under English common law. That was the law that was in place long before the country was founded here. Second, she said the Judiciary Act of 1789 never gave federal courts the power to block policies nationwide. And it is the Judiciary Act of 1789 that created Article 3 or federal courts in the first place. Third, she said, universal injunctions are modern inventions, and they are not rooted in historical practices. I think the first one was issued probably around the early 60s. Number 4, she said that judges should only issue orders that apply to named plaintiffs in the lawsuit. And 5th, she said that giving plaintiffs complete relief does not mean giving them universal relief. So now a judge's ruling is limited to that specific plaintiff. And I know that sounds reasonable on the surface. You may be saying, what is wrong with that? Well, in reality, it's extremely dangerous for our democracy. So let me walk you through what this really means. Not just what it means on surface, but what it really means. Because the executive order was, Trump's executive order was only challenged in 22 states. And now it will take effect in 28 other states. So in those 28 states, in 30 days, a child born in those states will not be a citizen if their parents are in the country undocumented. But a child born in the 22 states that were covered by those universal injunctions will become citizens. So now we have basically 2 different Americas with 2 different definitions of citizenship. And that's just the beginning of the issues we now face. Because here's the bigger danger. If courts can't block an unconstitutional policy for the whole country, then Trump, and for that matter, any president, could do whatever they want as if they are kings. Because in every state where no one sues, that gives the president enormous power, and it severely weakens the court's ability to act as a check on executive power. So this ruling will result in rewards for bad, unconstitutional executive orders, executive actions. And that is just, again, the beginning of what will become basically a kingship. Why is that? Well, think about it. If Trump issues some crazy executive order, which is probably going to happen now, someone in, say, California files a lawsuit, you know how long it takes for lawsuits to go through the court system. And so in all the other areas of the country, Trump's executive order takes effect because the California judge cannot stop it nationwide. So it creates a chaotic system by design. And it, meanwhile, allows Trump's executive orders to take effect immediately, except for the place or places where there are lawsuits to try to stop it. Are you seeing here what's going on and why SCOTUS actually crowned Trump America's first king? Now, let me talk a little bit about Justice Sotomayor's dissent, because she called out Trump for his gamesmanship. All right, let me take you back over to the case. And she lays out why this was so, if you will, deceptive for most Americans. But as I've told you so many times, this whole thing was well planned out. They have been working on this plan, this scheme for years. And SCOTUS is a part of the conspiracy. That is obvious. And when I say SCOTUS is a part of the conspiracy, I'm talking about those 6 conservative justices. Here's what Justice Sotomayor said. Right here is where I want you to read. Hold on. The one at the very top right there. The gamesmanship in this request is apparent, and the government makes no attempt to hide it. Yet shamefully, this court plays along. A majority of this court decides that these applications of all cases provide the appropriate occasion to resolve the question of universal injunctions and end the centuries-old practice once and for all. In its rush to do so, the court disregards basic principles of equity, as well as the long history of injunctive relief granted to non-parties. And she's right to point out that they use this opportunity because they have had opportunities to get rid of universal injunctions before, but they're doing it now as support for Trump's agenda. Because again, the court, those 6 members on the court are co-conspirators to implement Project 2025. And remember, Trump put 3 of those folks on the court in his first term. Remember. So she calls it out. She said he deliberately avoided asking the court to review the constitutionality of his executive order because he knew it would have likely been struck down. Instead, he used the opportunity consistent with their strategy to go after the power of the courts themselves. Because who has it that, what branch of the government that has been slowing him down? The courts. Well, now that power has been taken from the courts. They can decide a case just based on the 1 or 2 plaintiffs, and their case, their results, their orders now are limited to those 1 or 2 plaintiffs, unless it's a class action suit. While the rest of the country has to deal with Trump's executive order, even if it's unconstitutional. And Justice Sotomayor, she warned that this decision would lead to legal fragmentation all across the country. And basically, your rights will depend on where you live. And I cannot say it enough. I said it all last year. This is part of a larger strategy to promote Project 2025 with the ultimate purpose of protecting white supremacy. And it's based on Trump reshaping the federal government, basically, consolidating power in the White House, and also eliminating many of the checks and balances that protect our rights and protect our democracy.
Well, I will cut this short. Of course, and America voted for white supremacy in essence. So this is not anything that we haven't known since last summer. So I have dropped the links. I have said last call, apparently no one really is interested in these sorts of arguments for the night. I'm not going to stay up all night, waiting for folks. It is what it is. We are where we are, and y'all have a good night.
I got the recipe, never gonna let any op get the best of me. Thought it was distance, but hey, this is next to me. Talk to the spirit, you know I've been heavenly. Company definitely show your trajectory. This ain't a diss cause I say it respectfully. It's time to eat up, red like a speeder. Taking it deeper and that's how it better be. Ayy, I got the recipe, never gonna let any op get the best of me. Thought it was distance, but hey, this is next to me. Talk to the spirit, you know I've been heavenly. Company definitely show your trajectory. This ain't a diss cause I say it respectfully. It's time to eat up, red like a speeder. Taking it deeper and that's how it better be. I never let the comparison get to me. I just remember the promises meant for me. I know the enemy and that he sent for me. I keep the blood of the lamb as my centerpiece. I cannot trust in no crystals or energy. Look at the chemistry, it do not even mix chemically. Most of the tricks, they be gimmicks, they mimic the truth. It's poison and we got the remedy. There is a bomb, apply it, the fire can stand to the tallest of giants. The tyrant and all the suppliers are scheming and lying. They selling his dreams and we buying it. Show me the chicken, I'm frying it. Show me the dough and I'm prying it. Ain't never lacking it, so what I'm packing, he taking it, he magnifying it.
They say you ain't about it. Tell them that you finna make it, but they doubt it. But you rose like the flower. Tell me what it's like to live with superpowers.
I don't know, but I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I just know that I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. Ayy. I got to drive, the bus, the truck, the gas is stuck. I ain't the one to rely on the luck. I put in work and then he show up. I know it's fake to sit in the reps, ain't no regrets, I do too much. It ain't me if you saying I stunt. He calling the place and I do what he want. This ain't a front, glory to G-O-D. It's what you could do with a mustard seed. It's what you could do when you start to believe. Take fear and you cast it inside of the sea. 100% out of me, cause he gave it all on the T when he let it bleed. So what is you saying to me? You just insecure about the love that turned me to a beast. I take a step and I ain't turning back. He made me first cause I know that I'm last. I ain't got time for no thing in the past. Learn from it first and then I react. Hands off me, don't hold me. Get it jumping like a trampoline. All truth ain't no trolling. We in good hands, no folding.
They say you ain't about it. Tell them that you finna make it, but they doubt it. But you rose like the flower. Tell me what it's like to live with superpowers.
I don't know, but I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I just know that I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it.